Let's begin. Hello there, everybody. See if I can get some video on here so you can see me. Makes it a little more alive. Not that I'm that beautiful, but well, that's me. So I'm going to take this. I'm not a good editor or anything in regards of videos and all that, but I think it, in some sense, deserves what do you call it, rebuttal or something like that. Now, English is not my native language, so bear with me. But it's not that bad, I think. I think it's pretty good. It's not that. But anyway, so I was on, what is it called? Can't even remember. Zachariah's webpage. And I just posted some videos in regards to the flat earth and all that. So, apparently it seemed like someone didn't like that. I didn't post it because I don't think I ever mentioned Rob, and it's not like I haven't gone to him directly like years ago, but it's like it's something I don't really want to use time on, and yet I'm getting trapped into this thing so many times. So I put forward in regards to debunking flat Earth by North and South Point, where you can take a normal standard program that is free to download, and you can pretty much find the North Point and the South Point, and you can see that if you are above the equator, you can see the North Point. You don't need to be at the North Pole or anything, or in Greenland or whatever. You can just, as long as you are pretty much over the equator, you can see the point where the stars rotate around. And then you can go south of the equator. You can be in South Africa, you can be in South America, you can be in Australia, and you can see the southern point where the stars flips around. So that's, I think it's pretty clear that the Earth is not flat. It's let's take it from the very beginning. Years ago, we have the truth movement. We have 9/11 first, and we have the truth movement trying to find out what is going on. Then, of course, apparently people began to use these Jesuits mask, Guy Fawkes mask, and I was pretty much turned off by that. I think we had a lot of issues in regards to that. But anyway, blowing up the parliament, why would you have a mask like that on? And of course, truth doesn't hide under a mask. Truth is, not hiding behind a mask. Anyway, so I pretty much stirred some people up here. It's not that many usually stirring people up, but Rob apparently wrote back, and I was like, well, okay, he's writing back, so I'll make a video reply. I'll see if I can fix it, close together, and let's see what he has to say in regards to that. And by the way, we have, of course, where's my Bible? There's one Bible, and of course, let's take the book of Jasher as well. Remember something about that as well, and we are good to go. And of course, in regards of the Rakia or the firmament and all that, you see, there's a lot of issues. And we know the Jesuits, the Society of Satan, or as they call themselves, the Society of Jesus, a military organization, or milits, I think it's called milits or something like that, that was created as what do you call it? We have the Protestants protesting against the Antichrist, and it's seemingly pretty much agreed on who the Antichrist was, and no one knows today. You see, the woman is riding the beast, and the beast is the Roman Caesar, and the Roman Caesar is who? It's the man who is called, so-called Holy Father in Rome. So that's, as I see it, the whore is riding on this beast, and we have multiple kings. You can see different beasts have multiple kings, but it's the same beast, but it's represented by this king. The fourth beast is Roman in nature, until Jesus Christ comes back and throw the beast in the fire. Anyway, and the false prophets, of course, as well. So that's future prophecy, but of course, scripture is true, and of course, we have this, what do you call it, Romanism that has hunted down the true believers through the ages, and they have the cookie Jesus, the false cookie Jesus, where they believe that the cookie, the round sun cookie, becomes the literal body, blood, and flesh, and sinews, and soul of Jesus Christ. And they are allowed to venerate it and bow down before it, and so forth and so forth, and the blood becomes according to them, the literal body, literal blood of Jesus Christ. But of course, it was symbolic. It was symbolic for what he did. The bread, let's see if I can just put this one. The bread was broken on the tree, and his wine poured out for the sins of the world. It's symbolic. It's to remember. Do this in remembrance of me. When he did it, it was prophetic for future events, but now it's to remember what he did. It's not to say that this cookie Jesus, it just doesn't become, it's symbolic. It's to remember what he did for us. When his body was broken, his bread was broken. When the living bread came from heaven unto earth, and the living bread was broken, and his wine poured out for the sins of the world. The Father sent the Son, the Word of God, or the Jehovah, the Word. Also in regards to Josephus, have a nice one, where he talks about that all judgments have been given to the God the Word, who's God the Word. That's Jesus Christ becoming flesh and so forth. Anyway, so let me go back to in the beginning, a long time ago. There was this video on YouTube, and this video on YouTube was about was about this school group, and this school group, I'm not sure how far, but not children, but but not, but anyway, I think what do you call it, upgrade, I'm not sure what it's called, but like students or something like that, I'm not sure, but they had this project, and this project was about, well, just imagine or think if the world was flat. They knew it wasn't true, but they just put it out there. Just think about it, okay. And I pretty much set it aside, and I just, this is, why even use time on something we know is not true? And they knew it was not true. Why even begin to then go into it, right? There's a lot of issues going on in this world, a lot of deceptions and lies, and Satan is really doing us in from every single side. Why don't we know who the Protestants protested against? We don't even know what it means anymore. Protestants protest against who? Well, the Roman Caesar, who thinks he has the, what do you call it, the authority to change God's law. Of course, that's in regards of Sunday, that the mark that Romanism has the so-called authority to change God's law. Of course, they don't have. The fourth commandment was written in stone by the finger of God, and God rested on it around 6,000 years ago, and blessed it, sanctified it, and made it holy, set it apart from all other days. And this guy comes around and say, hey, no, we have changed it to Sunday. And actually, if you look at it, you have 1 week. He's changing it from the 7th day to the first day, so-called changing it. But of course, we know the horn in Daniel, things to change times and laws. Who could that be? Who could it possibly be? Let's see. The Julian Gregorian Popes. Satanic sun calendar. Who? I wonder who changed the times. Is that the calendar we find in the Bible? No. When is the new year according to the scriptures? What is written in scripture? It is written that the new year according to Jehovah, our living gods, are in the spring. When are we keeping New Year in the West? In winter. Oh. According to, as I understand it, it's in regards of the so-called god Janus, like January, whatever. In any case, whatever the case is to be, it's not the new year according to the Bible. Now, of course, we also have the the Jews are keeping the new year in the fall, in the 7th month, so they are also wrong according to scripture. Look in scripture, see when the new year is. It's in regards of Passover, and of course we keep Easter. And, have these bunnies with eggs and all that. I'm going side trail or whatever. It was really not but according to Jehovah, the new year, the year starts in spring. Not in the winter, not in fall or whatever the Mohammedans may have. I think they change it from year to year, something like that. Calendar goes, what do you call it? I think that's something they don't have, but that's something to research. But who cares? We just need to know what is in here in regards of what did God tell us. Not what, a man in Rome tells us, Anyway, so, and of course we have the so-called white pope, and we have the so-called, I'm getting tired of this, 2 seconds, and we have the black pope. Let's see if I can just change this. It takes the screen time out. Let's set that keep screen turn on. Yep. Just so it doesn't, So the thing is, we should do what the commandments of God says, and he has his own feast days. Why are we not keeping those feast days? Why are Christians keeping Christ Mass? Actually, in Denmark, it's called Jul because we never got to change it to Kristi Messe, but as I understand it, that was something they tried to do. What is Kristi Messe? Well, Kristi Messe is Christ Mass. Where does it lead us? To Rome. What happens in regards of Christ Mass? Is there something in regards of the television where, the Antichrist is being shown and making this sacrifice, so-called sacrifice, and making this piece of round bread into the real Jesus Christ, apparently, and apparently sacrificing it for the living and the dead, and this is happening all throughout the world in regards of the Catholic churches. It is abomination. And of course now I am accursed for saying that you shouldn't worship a bread. And they take this cookie bread, this cookie Jesus, this wafer God or whatever, and put it in this monstrance, this sun monstrance. Looks like sun rays, doesn't it? You can look that up, monstrance. And this host, and what's it called? The host, and the Eucharist, that's different names you can look up and look at that and see what they're doing and going around with this piece of bread in the monstrance. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you bowing down before it? Why are you allowed to venerate and worship a cookie? And just immensely horrible. And of course we have Sunday. Everything just seemingly points to sun worship. Not the sun, but the solar sun, So, the question is, are people leading you to the so-called Pope, or are they leading you to Christ, That's a good question. Anyway, so let's go for I got on side trail here. We have so many lies, so many deceptions, and so forth, and may actually have already started in the 1st century by someone actually found in the Bible. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So Rob Skiba has written here. According to some of the things, the videos, I'm not sure you actually saw the videos. You probably have a lot of things to do. We all, researching. We have so many lies, but we shouldn't. Rob, you are a man that a lot of people, are learning from in some sense. And when you're teaching falsehood, that's not bad. We should. That we have brothers and sisters, and we should lead them in truth, right? The truth should be the thing that we all should promote if we have the spirit of truth. Now, of course, we all tend to fall into Satan's. Satan has pretty much put minds everywhere. So of course it's I don't know. But anyway, let's see what he writes here. Give a biblical case for your belief in a spinning, heliocentric globular Earth hurling through a vast, ever-expanding vacuum of space. I dare ye. And sorry, but neither Isaiah 40:22 nor Job 26:7 are going to help you. Good luck. Well, I don't really believe in good luck, Rob. In Israel they say good luck. You should say God be with you, or God bless you. Like the Bible in regards of Ruth 2:4, I think it is. oh, anyway, we pretty much don't use God's name anymore. We have Jesus, but Jesus is God Almighty Jehovah. We don't use Jehovah. We think, when you use the name Jehovah, the people in Denmark believe you are Jehovah's Witnesses, in regards to the cult Jehovah's Witnesses. But of course, the Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe Jesus is God in the flesh, so that's false, and they have their own Bible version where they have tried to write the divinity of Christ out, which pretty much I think is pretty much impossible. How the Bible is created, so you can still find it. But that's anyway. So let's get to it. Give a biblical case for your belief in a spinning. Now, first thing, let's get something straight here. I never said the Earth was spinning, did I? Heliocentric. I never said that the sun is the center of anything, right? Globular Earth. That's the thing I said. In regards of the Earth being round, I think we can pretty much affirm that. I think the flat Earth is a deception. The first time I saw it was that school class project thing, and I just, put it aside, and I'm like, oh, this is just too crazy. And then, it just explodes. And the thing is, a lot of the people, there's so many people, both so-called priests or shepherds, whatever, doing this thing in regards of teaching flat Earth now, and this and that and whatever, and it's just so horrible. I don't want to, come on, I'm being dragged into this all the time. I just want to read my Bible and do other things. And the thing is, some people that are, they haven't even read the Bible. They just listen to, for example, Rob, and they listen to you, Rob, and they, listen to, and oh yeah, the Bible says it's flat. I never read the Bible, but this guy says it, and it seems pretty convincing, so I'm going with it. And I had one guy that was, still in the so-called New Age satanic stuff, he was like telling, the Earth is flat and blah, 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 and giving me some quotes and all that. And then I was showing him, no, it's not flat. And then he said, oh, then the Bible is wrong. You can't, you can't just, you can't win, you just can't win in these matters, it's just, Satan is a master crafty deceiver. The murderer and liar, dragon and old snake. Anyway, so first thing, I never said it was spinning. I never said it was heliocentric. I said it was a globe and that it was round, that it's not flat. Agreeable. Hurling through a vast, ever-expanding vacuum of space. I never said that either. So there's 3 points I never said as I remember it. I only said that it's not flat. That was the main point. I don't need to go into the other things. The thing is it flat or not? That's the whole point, And we have Isaiah 40:22 or Job 26:7. Not sure about what they are, but in any case, that's just first thing. Okay, before all this flat Earth got into the, I'm not sure. I need to see if I can put it a little more up so you can see me. Oops, Daisy, that's not going good. Anyway. There we go. Anyway, so the first thing in regards of, and you see people think, some say, well, Zachariah is not a flat earth speaker. I know he's not a flat earth speaker because they have Rob and Zach had a debate years ago where actually, I think it was that video I wrote on, but in any case, so I have written to Rob before, Rob Skiba. And of course we have the book of Jasher as well, which he uses, and pretty much think that the problem is when you're coming, Satan tries to get you astray. If you are a new Christian, you don't read this, the book of Jasher. You read this because you have no foundation in the Torah if you just read this. Now this may seems like a good story and, in regards of these people that is found in the Bible, but you have no way, absolutely no way to confirm if this is correct, if you haven't read the Torah, which is found in this book, the Bible. So, in the beginning, when you find out who Jesus is and begin to turn around and all that, don't read the book of Yasha. Read this one. Because I read this before I read the Torah, and should be able to actually see if we can show you that I actually, not sure, but you should be able to maybe see that on every single page I have marked things because I read it all. But it was pretty much a waste of time, and I think it is pretty much not authentic. So we have a Jewish source going deeper into the book of Yasha, and we had a Christian source that was two good sources in regards of just showing from the Bible that there's some issues. So anyway, I would not, in regards of wasting the time in regards of the book of Yasha, just read the Bible. Go to the Bible. That's the foundation of it all. If something doesn't add up with the Bible, that's a problem. In regards to the Torah is the foundation for everything else. So anyway, and of course, some people will say, oh, well, it could have been corrupted and all that. We have a lot of sources in regards of the Torah and the Bible, the so-called Old Testament, the scriptures. We have the Greek translation, we have the Aramaic translations, we have the Samaritan translations, we have the Masoretic text, we have the Dead Sea Scrolls, we have, what is it called, the Targums or something like that, where they, we have a lot of things, I think I'm missing something, but we have so many sources to drag on and to test and verify that what we pretty much have here is pretty much, some minor issues here and there, but, it's, yeah. You can pretty much nail some of these issues and all that, but it's smaller issues. But of course, it's always nice to correct the things. So anyway, so after this, there was this guy. I'm not good at names. I'm sorry. Let's see if we can find him. We have. Oh, maybe I put it up here. So let's take that first. This was before the flat Earth took off in regards of space. It took off really took off. And remember the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus or the Society of Satan, which was created as a, what do we call it, to get the Protestants back to the so-called Pope, the Antichrist, the beast. And they are allowed to infiltrate and, fix schools and teach, and there's a lot of falsehood. They are, what do you call it, infiltrating groups and then trying from the inside to, I think we already have three big groups, the Lutherans, was it the Methodists, and one of the I can't remember, but three big groups now turning back to the Pope, so-called Protestants. How can you be a Protestant if you go back to the guy that they protested against? You can't, So it was pretty much agreed on in regards of the Protestants who the Antichrist was. So let's see, where do we have it? Richard Dawkins. Oh yeah, Richard Dawkins is atheist, evolutionist, pagan evolutionism, which goes back to at least to India. Some says it actually goes back to Babylon. Who knows? Could be, but at least it can be tracked back to India. And if I remember correctly, to the Greeks, then to the Romans, and then Darwin picks up on it. So it's nothing new. It's just an old pagan doctrine. So it's, even if you could get the millions into the 6 days and all that, you still have a problem because God created us, or actually the gods created man in their image, in their likeness. And evolution starts out with a pull by a miracle that we have never observed in the laboratory becoming alive. So the thing is, is God the cause, or is it just, a miracle that, apparently non-animated things became animated by somehow, and program code and whatever technology or biologically, whatever. So let's see. Okay, let's push it. But anyway, it's just, do we have a cause or do we not have the cause for the effect, right? Do we have the cause for the advanced program code that we now know that exists in each of us, and many things, the DNA code, the advanced code that who programmed the code, it's just anyway. So Richard Dawkins interview so-called rabbi. We are not to call anyone rabbi. Jesus talks about that in one of the, in the Gospels, or actually in the 4 books of the Gospel somewhere, because it's actually only one Gospel, right? It's one good news. It's 4 books about the good news. So it's when we call the 4 Gospels, it's actually just one Gospel and 4 books in regards of the Gospel. Anyway, let's see this. And this is so-called rabbi. This was before the flat earth, woo! And you can probably find the date on this to confirm what I'm saying. That's always a good thing to confirm. So let's see. It should come at some point. Let's see.
In different of a few years, but you have differences of millions or billions of years. So therefore, it must be something wrong with the science if various aspects of science are so unempirical and out of touch with each other.
The disagreements among scientists are about millions and billions. They're not about a mere 5,000
No,
years.
but billions and billions, which is even a much longer span of time.
You realize that the children are being taught. They're being brought up in a world, and they're being taught that the entire world began after what archaeologists would recognize as the agricultural revolution. These children are being brought up in a very distorted world indeed. It's nothing to do with Judaism. This is true of fundamentalist Christians in the United States. It's true of fundamentalist Muslims all over the Muslim world. Children all over the world are being taught something which is manifestly false, as anybody who looks objectively at the science can tell you. And I worry about children being victims of this kind of what I can only describe as miseducation.
I find the terms as distorted and miseducation rather disturbing. I think that Judaism has its tradition. I think there are various scientists who have their tradition. And I think to get on a high horse and to say that only my tradition is correct without really exploring
I would hate to
the
do
other
that,
tradition.
but it isn't just a matter of tradition. We're not talking about tradition. We're talking about evidence. Tradition means that wise men of the past wrote things down, discussed, debated, and passed it on to the next generation who discussed and debated. Perhaps they had revelations. Perhaps they read holy books and discussed it. But that isn't evidence. The science is not a tradition. Science is looking at evidence, and the evidence is, in this case, extremely clear. There are other cases where it's not extremely clear, but in the matter of the world being billions of years old and not mere thousands of years old, the science is totally clear.
I don't think it's clear. It's still called the theory of evolution.
Well, it's called that, but that's in a very technical sense.
But still, it's called that, and it's not called the law of evolution.
Well, I will call it the fact of evolution.
But you're a fundamentalist believer.
No, I'm not a fundamentalist believer.
Because in English language, it is called the theory of evolution.
In a special technical philosophical sense, it's also a theory that the world is round and not flat. It's also a theory that the heart.
Jews always believed that the world was round when the rest of the world thought it was flat.
Well,
and I presume at that time you would have come to me and said the world is flat, and how come you believe the world is round? Because at the time that was a scientific orthodoxy that the world was flat.
Science, of course,
Judaism at the time believed that the world was round. So I'm sure if we would have had this conversation then, you would have said, how can you believe the world is round? Science knows it's flat.
Only if you take science to be a tradition. Science has evidence. In that time, the evidence was bad evidence. The evidence improves. The evidence comes in as the centuries go by.
Also, there'll come a time when you'll come to me and say, this conversation was based on bad evidence.
Well,
today,
in some
in
respects,
10 years' time, we'll say, okay, your view was correct. And
science changes, and there will be things that change, but there are certain things which the evidence is so strong that they won't change. There are many things where science is very uncertain, and I would hate to give the impression that science is categorical or over certain. There are lots of things where it's not certain. But the age of the earth, 5,000 years, I mean, that is, I'm sorry, Rabbi, that is ridiculous. There are other things where no doubt you're right, but
I would say that this conversation would need a much longer period of time to discuss it, because
I agree with that.
We're dealing with many different issues. I mean,
Now, of course, in regards of the Jewish calendar, it is, I think it's 5,778 at the moment. Now, if they change the year in the fall, which of course seems to me to be incorrect, because we know that God said that the new year starts at spring. So, in regards of the Passover, and of course in regards of Easter and Passover, there's difference in regards of calculating it. It was some of the problems that the Christians in Asia, which is nowadays Turkey, actually had problems with in regards of Rome, because they calculated it one way, and the Christians in Asia, they kept it according to the Jews, or according to the Bible, according to the Torah, at least a lot closer. So we have the tradition of Easter, which is not found in the Bible, of course. Of course, I think the King James Version have Easter in it's a mistranslation. It's a translation like any other translation. It has issues as well. And if you don't think the King James Version have issues, just look at the name. They took out the name of God nearly 7,000 times in just the Old Testament, and we don't have the name of God in the New Testament in most versions. You need to go to the Peshitta or the Aramaic scriptures to actually find where the name was actually. And actually, it just points more that Jesus is God. And of course, the so-called Jehovah's Witnesses don't like that. So, because Maya is used for the name of Jehovah in regards of the Aramaic scriptures. And we have in the Hebrew scriptures as well, where it's, we have some Hebrew manuscripts that also points where the name should have been. And I actually, that was this website in regards of the Hebrew manuscripts. And there was only one place that the Peshitta actually didn't have the name. And so, anyway, I'm going off trail again. So this was a Jewish so-called rabbi. Again, we are not to call anyone rabbi, but Jesus Christ. It's funny how Christians, put themselves up as this rabbi, and stand on this podium and talk and, being called rabbi and all that, when Jesus said we shouldn't be called rabbi and all that. It's pretty much so much falsehood out there. Now, so this was one of the things in regards of, so we have one Jewish source. Now, of course, it would be nice with two sources in regards of two witnesses. This is just one source. Let's go further. Oh, yeah. So this was one source anyway. So in regards of the Rakia, I think, Rob, you had some problems with the Rakia as well. That this Rakia is actually solid. And you have the sun, moon, and the stars. I'm not entirely sure but the thing is, the birds are flying in the Rakia. If the birds are flying in the Rakia, it's not solid, okay? They are flying in the faces of the Rakia. Anyway, I need to take a break because I can feel my stomach is... I need to go to the throne for a while. So I'll be right back. I'll just pause this. Let's see if we can go on. My stomach is not that good today. I'm not sure if it was the chili that did it. Anyway, so the Jewish calendar says 5,778, I think. And of course, we know that they took around 164 or 165 years off the calendar, so you would have to add those years on. I think it was from the Persian period. But anyway, another topic for itself, of course. So around 6,000 years. It depends on the sources you use. In regards to the Samaritan sources, the Masoretic text, and the Greeks, there's a difference in regards to the flood. I think the flood in regards of the Masoretic text says around 1600, and we have the Samaritans saying 1300, and we have the Greeks saying 2200. So there's a difference in regards to the dates and so forth, which makes the world to be around 5,500 to 7,500 years old. So around 6,000 years, you know. Yeah, it's just, so we don't have the exact date. It would be nice to have the exact date. At least some believe that the Greek manuscript seems to be, there's a lot of witnesses confirming the Greek manuscripts, and that would actually make it older than 6,000 years. But I'm still open for the information out there. It's you know, it's huge subjects, and anyway, another day for that one. Let's see. So the question is, oh yeah, that was the rakia. Let's go see if we can just minimize this. Oh, I think my stomach still has some issues. Really bad. So I may actually need to pause it again. But anyway, let's see how it goes. In regards of the rakia, let's go to, because as I understand it, you believed, I'm not sure if you had changed because it's some years ago. And actually, maybe I wrote to you 2 years ago. So the people saying I didn't go directly to you. And again, I didn't point out in regards of Rob, in regards of when I post the videos, in regards of the earth not being flat. But of course, people themselves concluded, and let's see if I can find, I think I need to pause this again, but I should have found it. Oh yeah, here we have Rob Skiba and the debate from over 2 years ago, something like that. Flat Earth debate, and here we go here. And I wrote to him, Rob, you're sowing Satan's seed. I was lured away from the Bible by the 3 books you talk much about. Sorry about that. Yasha, First Enoch, and Jubilee. Just stay away from these books and keep to the Bible. Now you're going to tell me the tabernacle could be round. Have you even read the Torah? How can you ever... Oh, maybe I should just... Oh, there we go. I need to pause this. Sorry, I need to go to the bathroom again. There we go. Oh, it's the chili, I think. I'm not sure. The thing is, I don't have resources at the moment to buy new food, so I'm waiting for. But I have some seaweed, and I made some seaweed chips and all that, and trying things and all that in regards of health stuff. So I think I put too much chili on the seaweed. So I think I'm good to go now. Really light it up. Anyway, I wrote this on YouTube. That's, again, I'll take it from the beginning. Rob, you're sowing Satan's seed. I was lured away from the Bible by the 3 books you talk much about, Jasher, First Enoch, and Jubilee. Just to stay away from these books and keep to the Bible. Now you're going to tell me the tabernacle could be round. Have you even read the Torah? How can you ever think it was ever round? It talks about it being so and so wide and so long, and the Israels camping on the 4 sides of it. And this is I'm thinking Jesuits and deception. If you're going to use books outside the Bible, you take those books and you compare them against the Bible. And if it does not fit, you throw them out. Speculation and lies, we have more than enough in Christianity, breaking it down to pieces. Satan has been here a long while to corrupt and mislead the people. If you are not bathing in the Torah and take it as foundation, you will go astray and begin to follow the snake's deceptions and lies and do his bidding to take others with you. People are ripen for deception. They love lies and hate the truth. I heard an interview of a Jew, so-called rabbi, if I remember correctly, before all this flat earth thing got into fashion and blew up from some kind of small school project, and after some years just took off. In regards to the Jew, that was the guy we saw beforehand in the video I'm talking about. The Jew said in this interview that the Jews, had always believed the earth to be round and not flat, even when the whole world's whole. world said it was flat, they knew it was round, round in the sense we today understand it. Now I know that the Jews are not always on track, like missing their king and savior, but I have to take a statement like that into consideration. The overall subject was in regards to how the Jews schooled their children and why they had their own schools to teach, if memory serves me right. The harlot wants us to go into another dark age, ? Bang the drums long enough and people will believe it. And then I wrote in regards of, I'm a former New Age sun gazer. When I was in the occult, I stared at the sun. Each day walking down, staring at the sun. Actually, also when it was high on the sky, because that was something that is... Anyway, I still have my eyes, I can still see and all that, but I wouldn't recommend it. But anyway, the sun thing going down the horizon is bull. That's like the bulla of the Pope, right? The bull. I'm thinking in regards of bullshit. Maybe it comes from that. I'm not sure. But like all roads leads to Rome. Why is all road leading to Rome? Why do we have this saying and we don't know why we say it? Or lies in Latin. In Denmark we say lies in Latin. That's lies in Latin. Why do we say lies in Latin? Why do we mix lies and Latin together? Well, the language of Romanism is Latin. And by the way, in regards to the US, you have these $1 bill and you turn it around and it's in Latin. Anyway, just makes you wonder, right? Because as I understand it, the US is actually the sword of the papacy, to do their will, to do their crusades and so forth. We also have a quote in regards of a bishop from America, Chicago or something. No, what was the Chicago newspaper or something like that? When it talks about that when the US controls the world, the Roman Catholic Church controls the world or rules the world. Anyway, that's something you can look up for yourself as well, but every road leads to Rome. Now, in regards of controlling the Mohammedans, it seems like that's also the case, and I'm not sure if that is authentic, but we have one quote from one of the higher Freemasons talking about that we control the Mohammedans and we will use them to destroy the West. I don't know about that, but anyway, it's a lot of things are going on, and we just need to stick with Jesus Christ. Because Jesus Christ is the only way out of all this mess, because this world is just going, whoa. And as we know, it will be like in the days of Noah. Everybody did their own thing and all that. And whoopsie, that's the flood coming. And whoopsie, they were wiped out. And very sad, but this is we are going in that direction, right? People are doing their own thing. They're doing paganism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Mohammedanism, Romanism, whatever, turning away from Christ and God. Anyway, so I'm writing, I'm a former New Age sun gazer. The sun thing going down the horizon is bull. If anything is true, the sun actually looks bigger going down the horizon. Sick. And actually physics do have an explanation about why it looks bigger at that point, but just based on my experience, the sun gazing a year or so, I would think I would know how the sunset looks. But anyway, that was in regards to the sunset. But the thing is, these things I wrote here is over 2 years, or around 2 years ago I wrote it. So it's not like I'm going behind anyone's back, okay? And by the way, I don't have Rob on my Facebook, and I just saw that Zachariah, or Zach, has, had this info. So I put my videos on it, just in regards of, because this is a very interesting thing that you can just go to a program and download it free. If you have a computer, you can do this. If you have a mobile, Stellarium mobile is not free, but there's another program that is free, that is pretty much like it. But Stellarium for the PC is pretty much free. It is free. You have the website Stellarium. I posted it in one of my other videos. But the thing is, Stellarium, you can find the North Point and South Point. You go over here, find out location. Let's take it in Denmark, around there. It's not exactly Denmark, but it's close enough. So we go to the north, right? We look up, and what do we see? The North Star Polaris. I hit did it exactly. So we have north down here. We can see this is Polaris. We go in and we put some motion into this. And there we go. And actually, if I can just turn back here and turn that off. There we go. What do you see there? The northern point of the universe. So, and then you can say, well, okay, great. We have one point in the north, pointing to one point that every star goes around. Yeah, woo! And there we go. And we can zoom and all that, and you can see the stars are just going around. And if you want to be more clear, you can put on, I think it's maybe that one. Nope. Maybe it's this one. Nope. Maybe this one. Nope. There should be some, or maybe I need to reset this. Sometimes it makes, no, there we go. Oh, yeah. And then I need to slow it down because there we go. There you go. You can see everybody is, and there's a lot of paganism in all these things as well in regards of all the star signs and whatever. But you can see that we have the point. Okay, great. That's one point. Okay, so we have one point, and then we have another point. And I've pretty much showed it in the other videos, but we can do it quickly. We can go to Africa. Let's take a trip to South Africa, right? And there we go. I just pushed the wrong button. There's South Africa. And there we go. So let's see. It should be in the south, right? Well, let's look to the south then. Let's see if I can find it. And let's give it some motion. Now the thing is, there is in some sense a south star, but it's not. It's called Polaris Australis or Australis Polaris. Let's see if we can find it. Oops. Let's see. So we're looking to the south at the moment. And if I can get out of this one, let's see if we can find it. It should be, that's a good question, around here maybe? Nah, but I'm getting close. Let's see. It should be around here. We're getting close. Let's see. Yep. And where do we have the Polaris? There should be, here we have the Polaris. Now I think the Polaris Australis is pretty much, pointed out because that's the brightest star, I think, something like that. I'm not sure, but it seems like it's the brightest star at that point. It seems some of the stars are actually closer to the middle, like BQ October. And but in any case, if we go a little back here, and now we have the middle point, and we can actually, woo! There we go. What do we see? Things going around one point in the south, and so you don't even need to go to what do you call it, the South Pole or anything to see it. You just need to be underneath the equator pretty much, and you are able to see it. So that was pretty much just one of the things that I found out, and if you have one point, you can see a lot of images on this on YouTube and all that. But I was thinking, if there's any, I'm from the northern hemisphere, so I can't see in regards to the south. But if I wanted to check it, I could use in some science observable science. I could go to South America, South Africa, Australia, and check it for myself. But I'm pretty sure if if there was any problems in regards to these star programs, we would probably have heard about it from the people living in the south. Yeah, that's pretty good. And of course, this is Rob Skiba and Zachariah Bauer debate on flat Earth. We have to remember that the Jesuits are out there, and the Jesuits are playing every single field. Just read the Jesuits' oath, and we also have the Knights of Columba and the Knights of Malta and all that, and everything, and the Freemasons, everything goes back to Rome. It seems communism back to Rome. Nazism back to Rome. If you go up to the South America, Latin America, so-called Latin America, I wonder why they would let the Latin people go over in the US. Because US, America was mostly Protestants, right? They were fleeing from the Pope, so-called Pope, so-called Holy Father. They were fleeing from this Antichrist and went to the US. And how many Catholics are in the U.S., now. Catholics. And you even have the Pope over there now. Oh, the sweet little so-called Pope. Oh. Are we going with the Pope or are we going with Jesus Christ? We're going with Jesus Christ, not the Pope. And his false Sunday law and all that. Why are Christians even keeping Sunday? Yeah, of course, it's mostly, I think, because of Luther didn't... Luther came back and he just turned everything back to... he did good things, absolutely. But look up Andreas Bodenstein von Karlstadt and the Anabaptist, and you will be a lot closer to the truth. And of course, the Nazarenes are really good. That's the groups that, the Nazarenes was persecuted by both the Jews, their brethren in the flesh, and they were persecuted by the Christians. No one liked them. Why were they persecuted? Well, because they kept the law, and the Christians didn't like the Jews, the Nazarenes keeping the law. And the Jews didn't like that the Nazarenes believed Jesus was the Messiah. Oh, and they were persecuted. So you see, persecution always comes when you get too close to the truth. And the same with the Anabaptists. They were persecuted by, even if they were Protestants, they were persecuted by the Protestants and they were persecuted by the Catholics or the Romanists, the Papists, and they were just so horrible. So if you want to find out who was the closest in regards of, well, you just look at who is getting persecuted pretty much. And the Anabaptists are the nowadays Amish, the Hutterites, and the Mennonites, and so forth. Of course, they have their own issues, and we have just, we need to pull rope from Satan. If we stop pulling rope from Satan, we lose rope because Satan takes it from us. So, Satan's candy store is big, really big. And every road, every candy Satan is providing is leading to eternal death. It's the broad road that leads to destruction. Anyway, back to, I'm getting off topic again. Oh, it's just so. But why can't we even keep the feast days, which are actually, Zach is really doing a good job at promoting and other Christians out there are really doing a good job promoting the feast days of God. Now, I don't think Hanukkah should be promoted. Hanukkah is like second Sukkot. I have a file on that. Like 20 pages on how Hanukkah came about, how it evolved into Hanukkah. And you have like 9 candles and all that. Is that found in the Bible? Nope. Of course, you have the story of, what is it called? The story of... You still have the story, but it's not in the Torah. You still have the festival in regards of... What is it called? I can't remember. The queen, queen. What is she called? I can't remember. Esther, okay. Hadassah, something like that in Hebrew, or something like that. Esther. Anyway, you have, of course, the book of Esther, but still, there was actually some issues in regards of the Jews at that point, because they saw it as, adding to the Torah, because the Torah talks about which festivals we should keep. We have Passover, 7 days of unleavened bread. After the Sabbath, we count 49 days until Shavuot. And then we have the fall feast, which is Yom Teruah and Yom Kippur. And then we have Sukkot, and then we have the last great day. Maybe these feasts, which are about Jesus Christ, is actually the whole model, and we can actually learn something if we keep them. But if we just keep Christmas or Easter, Halloween, or whatever is out there of falsehood, and teaching our children about Satan Claus. And by the way, Satan Claus, really, I have some pictures of the Pope, and he's sitting with red and white and all that. It just looks a little like the Pope. Anyway, so we have Easter bunnies and tooth fairies and gnomes. In Denmark, people are hanging gnomes all over the place in everywhere. Gnomes are false gods. They are, demons. It's just And it's even the churches. We have the Lutheran State Church. They are promoting all these pagan things. You know, they are the promoters in some sense for these things. They should tell the people that all these things are wrong, but they are promoting it. And of course, before Christmas, we have Sunday. We have 4 Sundays, Advent, something like that. You know, Sunday this, Sunday that, and in regards of when Jesus is thought to be in Palm Sunday. And it doesn't add up. But we have all this Sunday. Maybe it's because it goes back to the, you know, the venerated so-called sun god, Sol Invictus, and all these things. And Revelation is also talking about Apollo and all that. I think that he was a sun god as well and all that. So we have the little thing that looks like a sun, and come on, and the sun rays around it, and Sunday, and you just added the things up, and Christ Mass and so forth, the false Christ, and come on, give me a break. This is abomination. And there, you know, the Catholics are bowing in front of statues, praying to Mary, praying the rosary. These pagan things, like the rosary thing, the Mohammedans have a version, the Buddhists have a version, the Hindus have a version, the New Age, so-called New Agers have a version of the you know, give me a break, you know. It's paganism, all of it. It's just the road to destruction. You know, we have to ask, who is Jesus? Who do they say I am? Yeah, some say that you are Egyptian mystic. You know, some say you are guru from India. Some say you are druid from England. Some say you are ascended master, one of many. Some say you are a literal son. Some say you are Kabbalah Jesus version. You know, it's just, you know, you have some say you are cookie. Some say you are only a prophet, you know. But who is Jesus? Oh, who is Jesus? Who is Jesus? That's the question. And Peter got it right. Peter got it right. You are the Son of the living God. Yay! Go, Peter! Anyway, so who is Jesus? That's the good question. You know, Jesus said, you know, you have to believe in me. You know, if you don't believe in me, you won't get saved. Well, the Jews could see him, they could hear him, and all that. They could see he was real. But why would he say, you know, you have to, you know, believe in me? You know, it's just because there was something extraordinary with Jesus, you know. He was God in flesh. So anyway, he was the Messiah, long-awaited Messiah of the Jews. He was God and Master and, Lord. And, So who is Jesus? That's the good question. That's a good question, because when the Mohammedans come and say, oh, Jesus, we also believe in Jesus. Oh, really? So you believe he... Take 2. Apparently, you know, it can only record 4 gigabytes. Apparently, then it stops and all that. It's just stupidity of technology sometimes. Apparently, because it's possible, but it's not possible. You know, it's possible to do, but the system, what do you call it, do so. It's not possible, apparently. So, let's see if we can get some video. Again, camera. So in regards to the Mohammedans, they will of course come and say, well, we also believe in Jesus. But which version of Jesus? Because they don't believe he was executed, they don't believe he was God's son, and they don't believe he was raised from the grave. So which version of Jesus do they believe? They believe he's only a prophet. So they have one of the false versions, like 1.8 billions of Mohammedans are following a false prophet. And a pedophile, because he had sex with a 9-year young girl named Aisha when he was 54 years old. Anyway, I have no idea how anyone could see Muhammad as a perfect example to follow after. You know, just by the account that he had sex with a 9-year young girl, which is pedophilia. Now, anyway, so let's go further. We pretty much had the debate and in regards of, so I have written to him before, and my stomach is feeling pretty good at the moment. Let's just close this. Maybe I shouldn't close it if I need the links to putting it up in the video. So my suggestion in regards to those 3 books, you know, still is to skip those books and go with the Bible, because the Bible, that's the standard. And be careful of Paul. Be very careful of Paul. I would suggest skipping the letters of Paul if you're beginning to read the New Testament, and just go with Jesus and the rest. And because Paul can lead to lawlessness, and lawlessness is not good. The law is not done away with. The law is still standing as long as heaven and earth is still there. The law is still applicable. And Paul, every time people is going into lawlessness, it's because they're using Paul. And because Paul says this and Paul says this, and you can say, well, Jesus says this, but Paul says this. Well, who are you going to follow? Who is God and who is man? Well, Paul is just a man. Jesus was God, is God, and who is to come. So who would we like to, if there's a conflict here, who are we going to run with? Of course, we're going to run with Jesus, because Jesus is God and God's Son. Anyway, so let's see. So I would be careful of Paul's letters. Always have a second witness for the doctrines. Anyway, that's a good way. And yep. Remember, Jesus warned us in regards of wolves in sheep clothing. They look like sheep, but are wolves, and they are growing up together. After Jesus had sown the good seed, the good wheat, there would come an enemy sowing the bad seeds, and they will grow up together. So just remember that. Remember the parables of Jesus Christ, found in the book of Matthew. Very nice to read them and reread them and think about it, meditating, and doing it on the Sabbath is just the best thing, I think. And learning from different sources also. You have Christian history you can look into as well. And just be careful. Just remember, this is, the Torah is the foundation. Jesus is the center point of it all. He's the center point. He is our salvation. But as we know, in regards of the, Jesus will reject some that say, well, Lord, haven't we done magnificent things in your name, driven out demons and prophesied in your name, and so forth and so forth. And Jesus will say, verily, verily, I say to you, I never knew you. Begone, or something like that. Begone from me, ye that work iniquity, lawlessness. So the seeds that are, the bad seeds, the poisonous seeds, the darnel, the tares are those that are lawless. So anyway, saying that the law of God is abolished is pretty much, that's total lawlessness. You can't get into more lawlessness than, and then when people are, people are attacking Christians because they want to keep the feast days which are written in the Bible, and they defend the pagan feast days like Christmas, and again going back to the Antichrist and Easter, which goes back to a pagan goddess. Why are we even, we shouldn't teach our children lies and deceptions. We should teach our children the truth, not lies. Anyway, I'm not going to teach my children lies just because the rest of the world thinks, I don't have any children. But why would I teach them Christ Mass? Why would I teach them Easter? We have to say, enough is enough. I'm not going to go with the world, And it takes some time, it takes years. I'm a little slow-headed and all that. So you're trying to get the traditions changed in some sense, not going with those. I'm not going to partake in Christ Mass and Easter and all that and Halloween and all that. Why would I partake in lies and deceptions, when I know it's untrue? So I want to keep the others, and I'm still learning. There's a lot to learn and all that, but hopefully if I ever get children, I can easily, they will hopefully grow up with it, and then, So anyway, back to, and the Sabbath. I want to have, if I have a family, I want my family to keep the Sabbath, not the Sunday. I want them to keep this last day and not the first day of the week. In Denmark, in 1973, that was the first year that they changed the 7th day to the 6th day and the first day to the 7th day. Those shepherds that should stand for truth in this country has just lost it, And of course, they also have hidden away in regards of Andreas Bodenstein von Karlstadt. The Lutherans are just slandering him, and the Anabaptists as well. We actually, one of our kings here in this country actually threw out the Anabaptist that wanted to live in Denmark. That's just a black point on Danish history, that's for sure. Just disgusting. But most most Danish people are atheists and evolutionists, like 70% or something like that. I think it was like the second country in the world that believed in evolution, pagan evolution. Anyway, Rob, sorry, I need to go back to the topic, of course. Where were we? Okay, we've shown the things. So I had some, I collected some things in regards of, on Facebook here. The first one is in regards of seeing the curve. I have 3 of those. Then we have the Principle movie, The Journey to the Center of the Universe. Again, I never said, when you're accusing me of things I never said. The main point is the world round or flat? And I think we can pretty much, clearly see that it's round and not flat. So why continue in that deception that it's flat? Now, I don't know if because we know that there's Jesuits out there and that they're in the front and leading the flocks, one direction, another direction, and so I'm not sure if I don't know. But I'm just aware that we should be careful, people, brothers and sisters. We should be careful because we are warned by our teacher and master and God that there would be wolves in sheep clothing. And we know these Jesuits, if you look up Jesuits you can see that it's in regards of deception and, just disgusting, just find a good old, let's just do it, see if we can find something. Let's see, unabridged English translation. Let's just search Jesuits. Just over there, Jesuits. There we go. Let's see what it says. That's one of my stomach goes a little. Is it coming with anything? Or is Satan? There we go. Jesuits, one of the religious orders founded by Ignatius Loyola. And they have all this mysticism and all that, and the heart of Jesus, and give me a break, And approved in 1540 under the title of the Society of Jesus. Society of Satan, if anything. The order consists of scholastic, the professed, the spiritual coadjutors, and the temporal coadjutors or lay brothers. Let's see if they have something in regards of. Here we go. Figure, I think it's called figurely or something like a crafty person, an intriguer. Jesuit spark, and then we go into different things that is wrong. Europe by Jesuits missionaries to South America. Jesuits, that's a lot. But the thing is, they are deceivers and very intelligent. They are very intelligent. They know a lot of things. They are educated in a lot of things, and they are, how do you call it, educated to infiltrate. And they're working for the Antichrist. It's let's see, Jesuit. Let's see if it says conforming to the principle of the Jesuits. Let's see, Jesuits, Jesuitical. See if they had pertaining to Jesuit. Yeah, here we go. Designing, cunning, deceitful, crafty, and opprobrious use of the word Dryden. I'm not sure. But anyway, of course, we have the Papist word as well. Papist, or Popist, Papist. And Papist or Popist are, those that follows the Pope. We also have Papism, Popery, an offensive term. Papism, yeah, that's in regards to the Papa or Popes or whatever. Paper, Pope, whatever. So-called Pope. Jesus said, don't call anyone on earth Father, because there's one in heaven that is your Father. Oh, but of course, a lot of people bowing down before the Pope and kissing his ring and whatever. See, Papist, a Roman Catholic, one who adheres to the Church of Rome and the authority of the Pope, an offensive designation applied to Roman Catholics by their opponents. And we also have in regards of, there is Caesar or Papism, and see, I'm not sure if that word is actually in here. Caesar, the doctrine of what was it called? There's 3 words that are really in regards of believing that the popes should have the rule of all the earth, and of course he set himself up as King of Kings and Lords of Lords and all that, having his triple crowns on his head and all that. Pontifex Maximus, the pagan pagan. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a high priest, but a pagan priest title. You can look that up. You have the coins where it says Pontifex Maximus. What is it called? Caesar, Papism, and I can't remember the words, but it if you look it up and all that, you can pretty much see that it goes back to, world. He thinks he has the power to control world political powers and spiritual powers. So anyway, I got off topic again. I know I have the words on my Facebook. I could pretty much just search on it, I think. If I go on Facebook, see, Facebook. Probably should have made this. It doesn't really matter seeing me anyway, but sometimes it just makes it a little more fun to be able to see the guy talking, right? And see if I can search up here. It's not the quickest thing, on the mobile, and it's recording and so forth, but it is what it is. And search Caesar. Let's see if is it like Caesar, or is it like like this, and Opapism? Opapism. There's a lot of these advanced words that we pretty much don't know anything about these days because I couldn't search on my let's see if it, okay, nope. Why Caesar? Maybe it is a before, not sure. Anyway, I should probably have checked that before. Oh, there's 2 other words that are pretty good, and when you see, here we go. Ultramontanism. So we have ultramontanism, a good word to look up, Caesar-Papism, and theocracy. And pretty much it's about the Pope. Let's see. Ultramontanism. Let's just take this ultramontanism. It's in regard of the Pope. Ultramontanism. There we go. Let's see if it tells what I'm saying. Slow. The principal definition of ultramontanism. The principles of those within the Roman Catholic Church or the Roman Universal Church or Romanism, who maintain extreme views favoring the so-called popes, supremacy, so used by those living north of the Alps in reference to the Italians, rarely used in the opposite sense as referring to the views of those living north of the Alps and opposed to the papal claims. CF Galli, I have no idea. But you can just Google these things as well. And definition: one who holds ultramontanism and Caesar-Papism and what was the last word? Theocracy. And you should be able to find something in regards to the Pope, in regards to these things. And its extreme form, Caesar-Papism, is a political theory in which the head of state, notably the emperor, who's the emperor today? Who's the Roman emperor? Caesar, by extension a superior king, is also the supreme head of, and sadly it didn't have all of it, supreme heads of the church, Papa, Pope, or Anaglos religious leader. In this form, Caesar-Papism inverts theocracy or hierarchy in Weber, in which institutions of the church control the state. However, both Caesar-Papism and theocracy are systems in which there is no separation of church and state, and in which the two form parts of a single power structure. Caesar-Papism, that's me writing. Caesar-Papism sounds like ultramontanism, it seems. And it pretty much seems to be much of the same. And like theocracy and all that. It's what the Pope is system, the papacy and all that. Every road leads to Rome. Every road leads to Rome. And the reformers knew that. The Protestant that protested against the Antichrist because they found out what the scriptures said and where it was pointing to, and we do not know anything today because we don't read it for ourselves. We let these teachers tell us things that are, whatever. You can't trust any preacher these days, you can't trust any shepherds, you really need to do your own research in regards to who is Jesus, what is actually written in the Bible. Read the Bible, just, then the Mormons come around, they want you to read the Book of Mormon. Give me a break, I want to read the scriptures and the scriptures only, okay? At least get grounded in this before, going, before reading the rest, that's a huge amount of information in this book. You can probably use your whole life studying this book. And of course, I'm not saying you shouldn't use outside sources, but just be careful of outside sources. You have the Rob, you had this theory of the tabernacle being round, and I'm like, what is going on, And you got these papers in your mailbox or something like that. Could it be the Jesuits posting these weird things to you or something like that? Give me a break. Oh, give me a break. And people are just running with these things, it's dangerous. What was it? Oh yeah, in regards to the rakia. Let's go look at the rakia. The rakia, the firmament, is not solid, okay? It's not solid, and I'm going to, let's have a look. One of the other videos I looked into that, or maybe more than one video, but let's take the Hebrew here. Now I'm not a fluent in Hebrew by far, I'm just a beginner, Barashit bara Elohim et hashemayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning, the gods created the heavens and the earth. Usually they translate it as singular. It's not singular, it's plural. Of course, the Jews have this doctrine. They know it's, if you actually, talking to Jews, it's just, it's just, it's, but they have this doctrine of Elohim being a name and Adonai being a name, but Adonai and Elohim is plural forms. It's not singular forms. And of course, that's the one problem also with the Mohammedans, because Allah is absolute singular, but Yehovah is singular plural, or plural singular. So, Jesus said, I and my Father are one. Shema Yisrael, Yehovah Eloheinu, Yehovah Echad. Listen, Israel, Yehovah, our God, Yehovah are one, or is one. I'm not sure in regards of is it are or is but Yehovah is one. Is one, probably are one. I'm not sure in regards of the plural form or the singular here. Okay, so, and the earth was without form and void, let's see, and we have the rakia somewhere, and the light, separated the light, yep, it's so wonderful, just the first chapter, and actually a little more than the first chapter, because you can't actually count on the chapters, because, some of these chapters are just put in the wrong places, the first chapter, if you want to call it a chapter, doesn't end at the end of the chapter 1, it goes forward in chapter 2. In regards to the 7th day. But anyway, so don't be careful of the chapters things, because when you normally read a book and you see a chapter, you think it's like an ending. It's not an ending in the Bible, because some of these places where they put a chapter is just wrong. So just be aware of that. Here we have the rakia. Vayomer Elohim Yehi rakia betoch hamayim vehi mavdil bein mayim lamayim. Okay, so we have the firmament, dividing the waters from the waters, and that's great and all that. And the gods made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. Okay, so we have the firmament. The firmament is not a solid thing, and I'll get to it. And Vayikra Elohim and the gods called the firmament the heavens. So we know the rakia is called the heavens. It's the heavens. Now, and that's the plural form in Hebrew. Now, of course, some translations in English just say heaven, but it's the heavens. It's a plural form. And it was evening and it was morning, Yom Sheni, the second day. So let's see here. We're going to, when are the birds created? Is that like day 5, I think? And let's see. And it was morning, day 3rd. Okay, we need to go a little forward. And of course, we also know in regards of the moon and the stars, they are put in the heavens. So let's see. Here we go. It looks like that's, yep. Vayomer Elohim Yitzresu. And so the God said, bring forth abundantly the waters, creatures moving that has life. And I'm just trying on the fly here. And the birds that flies above the earth in the open, or actually in Hebrew, in the faces. There's a bad translation, but again, sometimes it's pene. You can just look it up here. Face, faces, persons, face, face. It's the faces, panaim. It's plural. So the faces of the rakia. And the rakia is what? Hashemayim, the heavens. So the birds are flying in the faces of the rakia, which is the heavens. Now, we are walking on the faces of the earth. The surface of the earth, we are walking on the faces of the earth. But there is more earth, dirt underneath it. It's the surface. It's the beginning of the dirt. And the birds are flying in the faces of the heavens. In the beginning of the heavens, they are flying around in the heavens. And where are the birds flying around? In the sky, right? We see them fly around and all that. But there are more. They're just flying in the faces of the heavens. There are more. And we know that's more, right? Because that's where the stars and the moon and the sun are fixed and so forth. So it's just, it's not, I'm not sure if you're still going with this doctrine in regards of the firmament being solid and all that. But the birds are flying around in the firmament, which is the heavens. Anyway, maybe, it's just, so that's, you can just go read it for yourself in Genesis. So that's, in any case, that's my view on it. I'm trying the best that I can. If someone doesn't agree with me, that's okay. It's, I'm just trying the best that I can, and I just see a lot of errors out there, a lot of deceptions. I was in Satan's candy store beforehand, before becoming Christian. I've done a lot of, I know Satan is a master deceiver because I was deceived. I was lured away from the truth, and I had contact with these demons. These demons are not stupid. Those that I had contact with were very clever. Very, very clever. Very clever deceivers. And when you see, how can a Christian not believe in demons, Jesus is throwing demons out to the right and the left, That was one of the things that he was known by, because he was throwing demons out and healing sicknesses and all that. So, of course, demons are around. It's, So, and Satan is around. He's the master deceiver, 1/3 of the angels, from heaven is fallen angels. They are the demons that are deceiving us. And they are, in regards of looking disgusting or whatever, they can come as beautiful, deceptive beings and telling you things that just, wow, I'm God and I see myself in you and everything is God and whatever, paganism, what do you call it? Paganism, pantheism, There's only one way to God, and that's through Jesus Christ. No other way. But Satan sows all these falsehoods and also all these false versions of Jesus Christ. We really need to pull rope from Satan, because if we're not going to pull rope from Satan, he just takes it all. This generation is just ripe for deception. And where do you think Satan is going to attack most? The Christians, of course, because they have the truth. They are closest to the truth. Everybody else is deceived. The Mohammedans, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the New Agers, whatever, they are pretty much deceived. And the atheist as well, and the evolutionist. Again. And even if the atheist doesn't believe in Satan, it's a win-win situation for Satan, because, why would he show himself to be there if they're already doing his work, and they don't even believe him. So they don't even want anything from him in some sense for doing, his work. So it's a win-win situation for Satan. So the only thing, of course, we can do is just stand for the truth, right? Stand for the truth. Always stand for the truth. Let it not, be the salt of the earth. And when they say, oh, the world is 14 billion years old, say, no, I don't believe in fairy tales, Oh, I believe the world is around 6,000 years. Hey, they may scoff at you and all that, but hey, are you standing on truth? Yes, you are, because the Bible says around 6,000 years, and it talks about a worldwide flood. But the shepherds out there, they believe in evolution. They might even not believe in God. They don't believe in a worldwide flood. People say, oh, it's a local flood. A local flood? Are you seriously? No way. There's a lot of liars and deceivers, and some are deluded, some are working for Satan. I wonder how anyone would work for Satan if they, I don't know. It's just, I couldn't imagine myself knowing that I'm, promoting lies, how I could live in myself. One thing is to be deceived. Another thing is to willingly, commit deceptions and lead others in wrong directions, So, okay, let's go back to, Rob, I'm just, I'm just careful in regards of, you have some weird ideas, and it's a long time when I last, you may have some truth and all that, but I'm just aware of there's some issues I just find in regards, and I just look other places. I just want to read the Bible, and I don't want to be dragged into this flat earth where I'm always getting dragged into it. I'm just getting so tired, and it's really destructive in regards of creationism, because we are talking about creationism and evolutionism, and then the flat earthers just comes and they just use a lot of time, and if you say you don't believe it, they will just say, oh, well, you didn't research it, blah, 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 and it's just because you just get all this, and it's the same thing, and they just really want to promote that doctrine on you, and it just takes away from actually just reading and studying the Bible, and the Bible doesn't say it's flat. Again, many of the people that runs with these doctrines are not even Christians, or just coming into Christianity and just haven't read the Bible for themselves. Just Kent Hovind as well have issues with these people, and I'm totally in agreement in regards to this, It's just, it takes the focus off, and it does a lot of damage. And even when you talk to other people, yeah, I'm a Christian and I believe in Jesus. Oh, you believe in the flat earth. That, it just doesn't help, It just doesn't help. If it was true, I would absolutely stand on it. Like that the world is around 6,000 years. Because it's the truth. It's the truth that there was a worldwide flood. It's the truth. It's the truth that Adam and Eve was the first people on earth, and so forth. I will stand on that because it's the truth. But in regards to the flat earth, no. Okay, so in regards, you had some problems with satellites as well, And I know Zach talked about that you could actually see these satellites if you had a looky thing, but he has been in the military. I haven't been in the military. I don't think Christians should actually be in the military, and I don't think we should actually take the sword up in the hand. Jesus said we should love our enemy, and if someone strikes you on one place, you should give him the others as well. And he said to Peter, put your sword in, those that takes, put your sword in because those that takes up the sword shall die by the sword. We're not called to take up the sword we're not told to go out and hit people with the sword. We are told to use the sword of the mouth with the truth, And a lot of martyrs, a lot of Christians died, not because they actually, because it was, just to kill them, but because they followed Christ. Christ didn't die because of sin, did he? No. I think in regards of judgment as well, that's probably the Jews did the Jews did the works of their father, which was the devil, Jesus said. And the devil was judged in regards of when Jesus was around. And I'm thinking because the devil made the Jews, made them slay him, he pretty much judged himself in some sense because he slew someone that was innocent, right? Jesus was without sin. He was spotless. He was pure. He was perfect and so forth. So, and Satan killed them by the Jews, right? The Jews killed them, and they're the children of their father, the devil, as Jesus said. I think there's something going on there in any case, because now Satan is guilty of killing someone who was without sin, who hasn't transgressed the law of God. So he has a problem on the day of judgment, I would think. Anyway, that's a future thing, and we have 2 resurrections in the future, and everybody is going to Sheol or Hades or the realm of death when we die. The Catholics have this doctrine of going to heaven directly, and having the doctrine of going to either heaven or in the, what do you call that in English, the purgatory. Going to purgatory, and that purgatory is actually, upward apparently, and they'll call all these things that they do and all, and Mary in the heavens as well, so-called everlasting virgin and queen of heaven and whatever, give me a break, and praying to Mary this and that, and this cookie Jesus, the host, the Eucharist, and all this abomination. What are you doing? And bowing down before idols and laying in front of the Pope and kissing his toe and kissing his feet. Oh, just disgusting, I just beyond words. Anyway, so in regards of those satellites in the heavens, we really need to wake up, people. We really need to read the book, the Bible, and find out what it actually says, and there's a lot of history that has been hidden away. The Jesuits has been very effective, the Romanism. Anyway, of course, we know what is going to happen in the future, right? So, let's see, okay. ISS detector is a program on Android as well. Now, in regards to the satellites, some satellites makes this flash. So you don't even need what do you call it, spectaculars or whatever it's called. Here you have Iridium 54, and that's a satellite in the air. And this satellite at 50532 seconds will put out a flash. So I can push that. And I can, by the mobile, I can turn the mobile around and see, okay, there we go. So in the northern direction of where I am, in Denmark, we have a lot of gray and a lot of, clouds and so forth. It's very cloudy and all that. But in that direction, if it's not cloudy, you can see a flash, and you can see the satellites going on in heaven, or in the heavens, and they have different satellites, so you can actually see the satellites in the heavens if you don't believe that there's satellites up in heaven. You have the Iridium 54, Iridium 14, Iridium 54 again. You have the ISS. I'm not sure if I actually have seen that, but this is a I had 4 programs because there were some differences and all that, and this was actually the best. ISS detector is the best of them all. It seems to be the one that takes them all, all the satellites. You see, I had these 4 programs, and there was some variations, and I couldn't just but I would go with this program, ISS detector, and then you can go out, Rob, and look for these satellites, and you can see the flash they make and how they go over the Earth and so forth. So it's, besides these satellites, there's also satellites with radio thing where you can listen to them with a radio and all that. I haven't tried that and all that. Some on YouTube shows how you do that and all that. And of course you have the GPS as well. But in any case, you can see these satellites, these iridium. You can go out for yourself and observe them for yourself. Okay, so I think they're absolutely up there. I think it's just it's craziness. But of course, I think it's a trick of Satan. If Satan can make the Christians look like fools or whatever, you have, it's the same thing with Romanism. When people study Romanism, they found out, well, it's just sun worship, it's just paganism with, it's really nothing new in some sense. It's just another package. But the thing is, Romanism is not Christianity. See of the Crusades they're committing in the Middle East, right? The Crusades. Let's see, what's the Black Waters, going back to Knights of Malta, I think, or something like that. Where they're going for the Crusades. Who makes the Crusades? Well, the so-called Pope makes crusades. Is that what is that what Christians are called to? Are the Christians called to go out and kill other people? Or are we called to preach the good news about Jesus Christ? It's just terrible. We're not told to go out and kill other people just because they didn't believe. We're just, hey, you don't believe? Let's go forward. We are to use the word, scripture. Anyway, besides that, we have Next Space Flight, which is also a free program. I haven't said yes to all these things, whatever. So you're going, this program is just showing every single launch in regards to satellites. They're talking about satellites, what they're going to do, what they do sometimes. But it's rather boring. But if you want to see how, it's nearly every day, not every day, but it's very close that they are sending a rocket up. And I'm sure you could probably go to some of the places and actually see the rockets being fired out, but you have live recordings from this and all that. Of course you could say it was fake and whatever, but it's just I think it's going, it's just, you're just over the top, Rob. I'm not sure who you're working for, but it just seems over the top for me. But here you see all the upcoming launches in regards of rockets and all that, and you can see them live, and they talk about what the satellites, for example, or this and that and so forth. Again, rather boring, but it's like a daily thing, and you can just go in and look at it, and just take someone that has already been there and say watch, and you can see it. Yeah. Again, I just there we go. So, but I'm getting off topic and taking a little longer than I'm always talking about different things. You just have to wake up and read the Bible and check, because I had 2 Catholic sources turning me away from what the Bible actually says in regards of who the Antichrist is, or the beast and so forth. Oh, oops, I just needed to sound. And I found out it was Catholic sources. One made me think it was the Mohammedans years ago. And I found out he was Catholic. Now why would a Catholic point to Mohammedans instead of? Of course, because he's a Catholic, he has to, put the, and just wild things. But the thing is, the more you read the Bible itself, the better you learn more and more each time, and you research, you meditate on the word. And again, on the Sabbath is the best day to do it. Anyway, so you have the airplane, whatever, here, and 1 hour and 30 minutes, and they have some breaks as well, and some interviews sometimes. And again, I actually had deleted this, and of course they had some animations, which you of course could say, well, it's fake and all that. No, of course it's animation, but you have so many satellites up there. It's like, but of course, if you believe there's like solid rakia up there, just I don't know. I don't know what to say. You know, it's just wrong. It's just false. I think it's anyway. People can go look at that, and you can look at that, Rob, or whatever. You know, it's fair with some interesting ideas, but come on, some of these ideas that you have is just flat out wrong. The rakia is the heavens, the heavens. The birds are flying in the faces of the heavens. They're flying in the beginning of the heavens. Okay, pretty much in regards of how the what was it called? Not the temple, but the tent was made and all that. Have 4 sides and all that. And didn't you think it's round because you get some papers in the mailbox? Give me a break, you know. What is found in the Bible? Let's see what is found in the Bible instead of going by some papers you get from an unknown source, right? And then saying, we are not crazy. I think it's over in that direction, Rob. I'm sorry to say, but I think it's over in that direction. And why you're doing it, I don't know. You know, it's just you have some interesting stuff, sure, but Anyway, so we have see the curve. Now there's three videos from YouTube in regards of seeing the curve. I think was pretty interesting. And then we'll go to the movies made by Catholics, 2 Catholic guys, which again are promoting the doctrine of the Eucharist and that the cookie becomes the literal body of Jesus and so forth, which of course is falsehood. But they have some interesting things in regards of the scientists, in regards of the axis of evil, and in regards of the stars. You know, pretty much a lot of science is just breaking down these days because it looks designed everywhere. And of course, in regards of finding flesh in the bones of dinosaurs or dragons, which should be up to 200 years old now. And they find soft tissue in these. They find carbon-14 in these. So seemingly they can't be millions of years old. They are wrong. But of course they won't go there because they have their faith in evolution, paganism. You know, they're doing everything in their power to not verify the Bible. It's just very sad. They're not really scientists, right? When they're actually so biased. And the same thing in regards to the universe with the data we now have and the researchers have, the scientists finding out that we have this axis of evil, which actually looks like it's actually in regards of the earth, that the universe seems to be, having an effect from the earth point of view. We'll have more on that in the videos that I have, but and we have that the stars are in clusters, or the galaxies, but are in clusters around what? Around Earth. So, but they have, they're mixing it with false doctrines, and I think, in regards to the experiments, these light experiments to so-called prove the ether. I'm not sure if the ether is there or not, but I think the 2 experiments that they did are based on fallacy. I think we could make an experiment that actually would work, but I don't see the 2 experiments to even work. So the data that they use to try to prove the ether are there might be a little in regards of sidewind from the ether maybe, but overall I think the experiments was based on fallacy. Very sad. Anyway, so here we have Turning Torso. This is from Denmark, and he's looking over to a skyscraper. I'm not sure if you call it, or if you, maybe it's not a skyscraper, but it's one of the, I think, biggest buildings in Scandinavia. We don't have that many skyscrapers or whatever, but so this is a guy standing over in Denmark, and he's pretty much, let's see if we can start it. There we go. Hopefully it will be big enough to actually, here we go, he's standing over in, let's have some, there we go. See if we can, the thing is, if I turn it around, it just turns around because it's not going to work. But anyway, so we see Denmark, Sorry if it's not that big. Let's turn off. And he's pretty much just zooming in on these buildings or this building over in Sweden from different places in Denmark. It's actually not far from where I live. When I go down to the beach, I can pretty much see those what do you call it? Those energy machines. I'm not sure can't remember what they're called. So here he's looking at 25 kilometers, 8 blocks in regards of the skyscraper over in Sweden. And actually the idea was, as I understand it, that we should actually also have had a skyscraper over here, because we built a bridge over to Sweden. And then the idea was to make 2 of these on each side, but apparently only Sweden got to make one. So I'm not sure what happened in regard to that. But so again, he's zooming 28.4 kilometers away. Now, of course, this is only one video. That's the thing. I'm not sure if it actually gets much bigger if I just do this. No, it's not really much difference. Besides, I can actually just make this a little bigger. So as you can see, he's using some kind of GPS, I think, in regards of the height and so forth, and where he is, and making some good observations, I think. And he's pretty much continuing to do that, zooming in, and all that. Let's just turn a little forward. You can see it for yourself. I'll see if I can put the links in the video. But as you see, he pretty much, the further away he gets, the less big the buildings get. Now 8 blocks, 7 blocks, 6 blocks, 5 blocks, 3 to 4 blocks, and 3 blocks. So it becomes less and less and less. You can see less and less and less. And of course, you have over in the US, you have a huge skyscrapers, right? That is very tall and all that. So you may be able to see some of those when you look. But in any case, here we see the phenomenon of why are they becoming smaller and smaller and smaller if the Earth was flat? Well, maybe because it's not flat. So this was just one video, and of course one can discount these things, but overall, seeing all the evidence, I think it's pretty insane in some sense to. One thing is to doubt some things and all that, but I think it just gets too much. Let's see, where was it? Where was he? Was it here? Not sure. Maybe I should just push backward maybe on this one. Nope. No. Was the satellite something? Oh. Let's just go into my Facebook. There we go. Yeah, it's not the quickest, and again, I'm not good at editing movies and all that, and my computer in itself is just old, very old, and very slow. Let's go back here. And it's just, you have a lot of debates with Jews or dialogues with Jews and Mohammedans. Oh yeah, here we have by the way, the so-called Pope, the Antichrist. And doesn't he look like Santa Claus? Pope Leo, so-called Pope Leo the X, or Antichrist Leo the X. And everything is holy, right, in the Catholic Church. The Holy Eucharist, the Holy Inquisition, killing the true Christians, right? The Holy Pope, so-called Pope. The Holy this, the Holy that, the Holy whatever, Oh, well. So anyway. So we have the see the curve. Okay, let's take the next one, see the curve. I think there was one from one of these, what do you call it? One of these more mainstream things, that you pop up, But in any case, I think it's, it's not. We have a lot of sources, See, a flat Earth crossed by Discovery Channel. Now, I'm not saying that, for example, we have some issues in regards of. Let's just turn this off. We absolutely have, like, for example, I think it's historical channel or something like that, where they have something about Christ and false doctrines and false programs, and there's just so many deceptions these days because people don't read the Bibles anymore, so they don't, they're fed all these lies. And those movies also, right? The movies of I had 3 movies, so-called Christian movies, that I had to stop watching because there was so much falsehood in them. I just couldn't watch more, because there was so much fallacy. By the way, if you want to have a good movie, let's just stop this. If you want to have a good movie in regards of the Gospels, I'll find you one, and you can buy these on. But it's also on Facebook, I think. But video, I've made them into. Here we go. The visual Bible, John, is the best. I think the best video or film that is made in regards to the gospel. There's still some issues in regard, but they're using scripture from scripture. They're using I can't remember a little weird translation or whatever, but it's still it's the closest you get in regards of movie. This is 3 hours. Maybe it has some issues in showing things.
If he's asleep, Lord, he will get well.
Jesus meant that Lazarus had died, but they thought he meant natural sleep. So Jesus told them plainly,
Lazarus is dead.
Well, it's maybe because it's recording. Oh, there we go.
I am glad that I was not with him, so that you will believe.
This is pretty much, the best in regards of the Gospels, because they
Thomas,
follow.
the twin, said to his fellow disciples,
Let us all go along with the teacher, so that we may die with him.
So it follows the Bible, how it's written in, but I can't remember which version they use in the Gospel of John. There's some where, in regards to the translation, I'm like, but still, it's the best thing. It's absolutely, they don't go so much astray, There are some things here and there, but still, it's the best version, I think. It's the visual Bible of John, the visual Bible on Acts, and visual Bible on Matthew. Again, Matthew, it seems like Jesus is more like a happy guy in some sense in this movie. I'm not sure. But still, these 3 movies, the visual Bible, Acts, John, and Matthew, and John is the best of the 3. But overall, these are the best that are out there. I think I've seen a lot of things, in my years. Keeping to the Gospels and all that, those 3. The visual Bible Acts, visual Bible John, visual Bible Matthew. And I think there is one more that they're making, like visual Bible Mark or something like that. But I don't know if it actually has been released yet or something like that. But if it's just one way of actually just reading the Gospels, because one of the things that we should do today is read the Gospels, because there's so many versions of Jesus out there, and we need to know ourselves who Jesus is, because if we don't know who Jesus is, we can go from one false version to another false version and we can just pick and choose whichever version we like. So, and that's not how it should be done, right? Either the first version of Jesus was who he said he was, or he was not. We can't just make up our own versions. Now, in regards to this is in regards to discovery. This guy is sitting on one side of the lake with a magnifying glass. What do you call it? I'm not sure what it's called. Let's see if it wants to. And then he's zooming in. I'm not sure if they actually finished now, but the idea of the thing is that they go down with the helicopter, and land. I think they land with the helicopter, and now he can't see it. But the idea is, it goes down the helicopter, and he then tells them, well, you know, they need to then go up, and when he can see them, he says, you know, now I can see you, you know. And I can't remember how far up they actually come, but I think it's pretty okay, you know. Not sure how long and all that, but you can, if you see it for yourself, you can pretty much get the data on this. And there you go, they lift off, and he's now finding out when, you know, he's going to say yeah, where, you know, he's going to tell them when he can actually see them on the other side. It's a little slow in regards to the mobile because it's recording. And let's see. There he goes, and he can now see it, and he tells them, I can now see you, and how far are you up, and so forth. And you know, here they're looking down and so forth. So again, to make a proof that the earth is round, that it actually has a curve. Now besides that, we actually we have one more that's seeing the curve, and let's see. Show me the curve. Take 3. Apparently it, you know, again we had it can only record for 4 gigabytes and then it stops. Again, which is very weird because I know it can take more than 4 gigabytes. I had a video program that I tried, and it could just go on and on and on and on. It was an unofficial program. I think I still have it in here someplace. Open camera. Open camera, I can just record and record and record. So I know the system can do it. I'm not sure why Do Recorder don't have this feature to record you know, more than 4 gigabytes, but I know the camera can't either. I just have no idea why they do it, if it's because to save the things or something like that, so have a less chance of getting an error or something like that and destroying the whole video. But then you need to fix it together, and I can do that on the computer, of course, but it's just annoying, you know. Just one more thing to do instead of just having things working. Of course, I could just be a little quicker to go.
This time on Flat Earth Falls.
I'm going to take off the sound again because it has a way of. Let's see if we can just close these. Maybe that will help a little. Probably not, but let's try. There we go. Oops. Okay, let's try. I still have some power on the mobile. Great. Oh, by the way, behind me is, let's see, there we go. Pretty much, while the video is running, in regards of the curve, there we go. And you can see the images where they show where you can see the curve and all that. I have some of my. See if we can have this thing. I'm not sure it's actually turning it around. In regard to was, is, and is to come, Yeshua is God Almighty, Aleph Tav. And in regards of the model of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and the Son's being in the Son, and the Son being in the Father, and the Son and the Father being in the Holy Spirit, and the Spirit being in the sons of God. All the children of God, anyway. So, now we have all this. And in regards of Jesus also being executed on a Wednesday and not a Friday. Again, and why they turned to Sunday, I don't know. Because in regards of Sunday, if you have Palm Sunday and you count 4 days, you don't get to Friday. So they have some issues. And in regards to 3 days and 3 nights from Friday to Sunday, where the grave is found empty, no, it's not going to work. So, and again, in regards to the Sabbaths, because we do not read the so-called Old Testament, we don't know that there actually exist other Sabbaths than the weekly Sabbath. And the funny thing is, people usually don't know which day the seventh day is, the Sabbath. But then, of course, they will use the argument in regards of Friday, because he has to be executed on Friday, because Saturday is the Sabbath. Well, okay, so you know which day is the Sabbath, right? But, it's just immensely, immensely, yeah. So we should just do what is correct and try the best that we can, right? Now, of course, Jesus is our salvation, but that is not to say we shouldn't get closer to truth. And, we know that God hates sin. So if God hates sin, we should try to not commit sin. And sin is transgression of the law. It is iniquity. So, and of course, if we take Jesus, he said, until heaven and earth, vanish away. It's not that word, but the law shall stand, and there's a lot of prophecy still that needs fulfillment. So when people say the law is abolished and this and that, and and why wouldn't we want to know about Scripture? Why wouldn't we read, and why wouldn't we want to get closer and closer and closer? Anyway, so these are images in regards of seeing the curve, seeing that the boats are getting under the horizon in some sense, I think it's called, and one after another, one after another, one after another. So anyway, so we shouldn't, I think that's pretty much, these are just some of the things, but it's the planets, when we see the moon and the star and everything is round, and why wouldn't, and also in regards of how you see the moon, where you see it, when you see it from the northern hemisphere, you see the moon from one side in regards of the beginning of the month. Because in regards of the beginning of the month, not in regards of the Roman pagan satanic calendar, the Julian, Gregorian, Popish, sun calendar, and so forth, but according to the biblical calendar, the new year start when the the new month start at the new moon. So, but when you see the screenshots of people taking images of the new moon, some is this direction and some is this direction, and that can be explained by the Earth being round. Of course, in regards of the south point and the north point, also can be explained by that the Earth is round. Also, the maps in regards of airplanes seems to agree with the distances and how long it takes to get to your point and so forth. Yeah. So, and you can try to explain all these things away from this and that and all that, but it just doesn't make having every single thing to try to explain it and explain it off when it's just, I think it's, we already have now in regards of the Earth being in the center of the universe, or the sun being in the center of the universe, or whatever, that I never talked about. I talked about in regards of if the Earth is round or flat. Anyway, I think we pretty much have seen enough of that. You can go see it for yourself. I'll see if I can put the links in the bottom or something like that. See if I can fix the videos together, but I need to do that on the computer. I would just like to just do it here and put it up on technology as it in its finest, always having to do things and all that. Okay, so after we had all this flat Earth and all that, and I heard about the Principle movie, and the Principle movie, first time I saw it, I just thought it was pretty much flat. But maybe that was because I didn't understand it. If you're seeing the Principle, A Journey to the Center of the Universe, have a dictionary at your hand, a good English dictionary. I would suggest WordWeb is free. not the audio version, but the audio version is also offline, by the way. But WordWhip is free, and I think it's pretty much the best. It's the translation book I use most, because Merriam-Webster and Webster Dictionary, both these two, have spyware in them in the new versions. So absolutely, WordWhip has no spyware, works pretty good. If you copy something and go directly into the program, it just flips to the word. It's pretty good. So that would be my suggestion, WordWhip, and just go in, have a look. This is how it looks. Curb, and you can just when you're in Curb, you can just push on the. But that's only if you have the audio version. But I think it's worth it. It's pretty good. I think it's pretty good anyway. That's the most. Of course, you also, if you have one of the biblical programs, My Sword Bible, you also have a dictionary in there as well. I think I actually have two, and they are free. Webster and WordNet. WordNet 3. I would really use some water. So I'll just pause it. I'll just have some water here. Okay. Okay, back again. It's my voice is beginning to get a little rough. So you have Webster's and you have the WordNet tree, and so you have where you can look up things as well for free. But the Webster is older anyway. But again, I still think WordWhip is pretty good. I would suggest that. So there's these two movies. The Principle is 1.5 hours, I think, and The Journey to the Center of the Universe is 4.5 hours or something like that. And The Journey to the Center of the Universe goes more deep into them. I have to say that first thing, the two persons making these videos are Romanist or Papist, Roman Catholics, and I've seen some where they pray to Mary, where they have the cookie Jesus, talk about the cookie Jesus and all that, and so you just have to be aware that there are some things that absolutely just throw it away, eat the meat and spit out the bones and make some broth with those. Anyway, The Principle is just more to the mainstream, I think, where The Journey to the Center of the Universe goes more deep into it. The Principle have like two light theories, and also The Journey to the, both of them actually goes into these things, I think. But I think the theories are wrong in regards of proving the ether and so forth. I think the experiment itself are faulty, so the data cannot really be used too much, I think, to either prove or not prove the ether. So there may be some slight, if the ether is coming from the side, if it's having side wind and all that, we would have a slight difference, and it's seemingly what they get in one experiment, and the other experiment they turn it around, so they make the light actually go a shorter way than the other one that is going a longer way, and I just don't see how that can do anything. So I actually made a model in regards of how you could actually do it. Now it's in my notes and so forth. But yeah, if you had the let's make a new one then. IKEA bird flying. You could actually, if you let's see, new one plus. It's really annoying with the video, but anyway, let's see. So if you have, okay, let's see if I can do I have, let's just make the paper style black. And make the, oh, okay, we already have white, great. Yep. So if you have like a center point here, and you make like they have these what do you call it, watchers, what do you call it, where you count down, what is it called, where you count down, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I can't even remember what they are called at the moment. But if you like fix them, so you push, like when you take two watches and you what's it called? I can't even remember. I'm getting too tired, I think, or something like that. But that they are centered in regards of starting at the same time, right? You know, they have these atomic clocks and whatever, so they can do these things. And you take the atomic clocks and put one, and you put one atomic clock over here, and one atomic clock over here, another atomic clock over here, and one 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 here. Then you, from this point, you shoot a light beam into the middle. Now, of course, all these points needs to actually have been fixed to the same times. What do you call it? Settled on the same time and so forth. And you could also have one shooting upward and downward, like upward and downward, and having the same distance to everyone. So, and we have one shooting this way, 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 and this way. So you have the light coming up to the center, and from the center you divide the light beam into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 light beams that is standing on the same distance from each other, and you shoot the light beam this way, 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 and down and up. And you just look at when the watchers are, registering when the light is hitting it. For example, if you're shooting this direction, and that takes longer than when you're shooting it this direction, well, then it would most likely be, it could prove that the ether was there in regards of, the thing is, if the ether, they're talking about this ether, and if the ether is there, and you're shooting against the ether, and it slows down the light, and if you're shooting a light beam in the direction of the ether and it's faster, so this one is going faster over here than this one going over here, then you may have something in regards of the ether, may be able to prove the ether in it's really hard to explain it, but the thing is, their experiments go first against the ether, and then the light go with the ether back. And it's like annulling the whole effect, whereas the other beam goes in the side, so it actually may become a little slower because it has side wind in regards to the ether if it exists. But here you would actually be able to actually see that if you shoot one light beam this direction and one light beam this direction and all the other directions as well, and when you have your data, you could then take the whole table and turn it around, and maybe also turn it upside down or something like that. So this direction would then be over in this direction, just to verify that the data would be correct in regards of having the same distance from these things. So I'm thinking that would probably if the scientist would, they could just do it and check how the results, what data they would get out of it. Because if there is an ether, and it affects the light, we would see it, right, by this experiment. And I would think it would be possible in with our day's science, but I have no idea how they, all those atomic clocks and whatever, no idea how they would. But it needs to be reset, all of the clocks needs to be reset at the middle, and then you put the clocks at the distance, and to record when the light comes, and check the time in regards of how fast it was in regards to the light. I'm not sure if it would work, but anyway, it's just, I don't see how going one direction. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a scientist, okay, but But I was thinking that seems more logical than reasonable than what they are actually showing in the movies. But besides those experiments, those two experiments, where they're trying to prove the ether, it seems, they are showing some very interesting things. And remember, they are Catholics, they are Romanists. So don't run with the doctrine of the cookie Jesus or Mary or whatever and all that. You know, just read your Bible. Be careful of wolves in sheep clothing. Okay. So let's see if I can see. It's probably, I'm not sure if the voice will work. So maybe you will actually have to see it for yourself. Maybe if I turn off the video here, maybe we would be able to see it without too much obstruction in the audio.
Everything we think we know about our universe is wrong.
There is a crisis in cosmology.
This is the moment of truth.
All these things are rather strange, and we don't know why they're occurring right now.
We are in a special place. I do believe that the universe was created by God.
It's an exciting time for cosmology because everything has changed.
If our Earth really turns out to be special, then I would say God made a mistake.
The universe is going to eventually run out of energy and all life will die. The future looks very bleak. It's a strange time in cosmology because we don't understand nothing. Whole universes could come from nothing.
Whoa, what is going on here?
It turns out nothing is almost everything.
Dark energy, as we call it, is the greatest mystery in all of creation.
Science has said you must stay over in this category here and you cannot go into the God category because that's going to destroy our science.
We have to ask Mother Nature, how do you work?
There's a shelf full of Nobel Prizes for the physicists who can unlock the secrets of dark matter.
You can go on some websites of NASA and see that they started to take down stuff that might head to a geocentric universe.
We may be very special, but that doesn't mean the universe was created just for us.
This idea that we're not in any special place in the universe, there's something wrong with that. So they sent up this satellite and they find out these temperature disturbances throughout the universe were all pointing to the Earth.
When I see how barren the other planets are and how bountiful the Earth is, something's different, and we're in just the right spot.
We seem to find ourselves in a part of the universe that is perfectly tuned for life.
Life is extremely rare, and that we are in fact the only life in our entire universe. Now I actually think we're very significant.
The Earth is a very special place, no two ways about it.
Oh, it worked. That was nice. Just to remember again, I think it has some very interesting points. But just, eat the meat and spit out the bones. And it talks about these new findings that they have found in regards to the axis of evil and in regards to the stars getting in clusters. Like it will come in one of the videos, but let's see if we can just open. Like, let's see if a new page, or same page, but it's like if we have Earth here, they have apparently found out that the galaxies are like in clusters around the Earth like this. So every single, when you see the stars or galaxies, you have them in these circles where there are more galaxies around. So, and it's around the Earth. Isn't that exciting? And then you have the axis of evil, and it's something. Let's see. There was something in regards to the axis of the Earth fitting with the universe, where it's pretty incredible, but you need to see those videos to get more information on that. And that's scientists that are talking and they're quoting scientists and all that. I just don't think in regards to the ether that they have some problems in regards to those experiments, but again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a scientist, but there absolutely is some interesting things because it looks like the universe is designed. Yeah, and of course, that would not be a big surprise. And if the Earth is in the middle of it all, it wouldn't be a surprise either, because we know from the Bible that the birds are flying in the faces of the heavens, and that's in regards of Earth, So they're flying in the beginning of the heavens, so there's more heavens. So anyway, the other one is the bigger one in regards of going more like 4.5 hours into it, and those two Catholic guys are talking a lot about these things also on YouTube. And actually, in regards to the flat Earth, they're actually pointing out that is actually coming from inside the Catholic Church in regards to the flat Earth. And as I see it, it was a Jesuit deception, and it seems like these guys are actually agreeing to that. But again, Jesuits are, I don't know if but again, you have to be aware. But some of the information that they have found out is really intriguing. Here we have the journey to the universe. I'll just show you this.
15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0.
By saying we find that we live on an insignificant planet of a humdrum star, lost between two spiral arms in the outskirts of a galaxy, tucked away in some forgotten corner of a universe, in which there are far more galaxies than people. Before we answer the who, what, when, where, and why, let's begin by examining the discoveries of modern science that approach these ultimate questions. You may be surprised to find out that the discoveries bring us very close to the answers, but perhaps not in the way you had thought they would. For example, did you know that the newest cosmological evidence puts the Earth at or near the center of the universe? And this is admitted by many popular scientists. Did you know that experimental evidence from over 100 years ago to the present day shows the Earth is motionless in space? Did you know that Einstein's special theory of relativity was invented to counter the many experiments in the 1800s and 1900s that showed the Earth was standing still in space? science. Did you know that Einstein's general theory of relativity was invented to cover the weakness of the special theory? But in doing so, the general theory allowed the Earth to be motionless in space and the center of the universe. Did you know that in addition to Einstein's general theory of relativity, other theories of physics, such as Newton's laws of motion and Mach's principle, say that a universe rotating around a fixed Earth is as scientifically valid as a rotating Earth in a fixed universe? Did you know that every scientific proof for an Earth revolving around the Sun and rotating on an axis has been discredited, and there has never been an experiment that has provided proof that the Earth is moving? Did you know that the most recent data from satellite probes sent up in the 1990s and 2000s show that the known universe is aligned with both the Sun-Earth ecliptic and the Earth's equator, revealing that our universe is geocentrically oriented, with Earth at the center? Did you know that the most recent data from telescopes shows that galaxies and many other celestial objects, such as quasars and gamma-ray bursters, are oriented around the Earth in concentric spheres? As you can see, in sharp contrast to Carl Sagan's perspective that the Earth is lost in space, the scientific evidence shows we are indeed very special, since it appears we're placed at the very hub of the universe, motionless and serene, watched and cared for by someone who apparently did not leave things to time and chance. For the next hour or so, sit back and watch as we provide shocking scientific evidence from the best scientific minds and the best experiments to confirm these astounding truths. We must caution you, however, the evidence you are about to see is so shocking and so revolutionary that once you grasp its significance, you will no longer be the same. In short, the knowledge within has the power to change your life.
So these two videos are from two Catholics. So again, just be aware of that. But again, I still think there's some interesting things in both of the videos for sure. You know, talking, scientists talking on the things and all that. Pretty, the principle is probably the best to begin with. And Journey to the Center of the Universe takes further deep into it in some sense and tries to explain things further. So, and I need to stop this because I'm getting in regard to the voice. My voice is pretty. Oops. Try again. No record, no camera. There we go. Because my voice is getting at the point where. And now it's just going. There was one last page in regards to flat Earth that I pointed out. So I don't know in regards of the Earth going in space when many whatever and all that, but I pretty much think I've seen and proven for myself that the Earth is absolutely not flat. And that's the thing, that's the whole core. I don't need to prove that it's, spinning around the sun or whatever. Actually, in regards to the principle, A Journey to the Center of the Universe, they have a model where the sun actually goes and the planets goes around the Earth, and seemingly fitting, that both, things can actually be the same apparently in some sense. It's a little crazy to look at, but they have the sun going around and then the planets going around the sun, and apparently it should be the same thing as the other model, and they show the two models at the same time, and it's pretty okay. I don't know. It's not a faith issue as such. Apparently it's more a Catholic issue because I think it's some kind of pope, so-called pope, said that the earth was at the center and all that. So it's a problem for them and not directly for. But if it's true, of course. But I can't say, I cannot, you know. But it doesn't destroy my faith in either way. If the earth is going around the sun or the sun going around the earth, it doesn't change my faith in any way. But it is interesting, of course, that the Bible says that the birds are flying in the faces of the earth, and then, of course, it seems like that's the beginning of the, you know, the space, the rakia, the heavens. So, you know, it might be or might not be. And then, of course, they find this axis of evil. They actually didn't talk much of the axis of evil, but this phenomenon that the earth, you know, have two places, and apparently the universe seems to be incorporated into those two ways of the planet. I think it's the equator and the, I can't remember what they're called, but apparently the universe seems to be, you know, following the earth in regards of those axes, and that's very curious, of course. And it doesn't look like it was an explosion that made these things. It looks like that Earth maybe is in the center of the universe. But in any case, there's some interesting things in the Principle on Journey to the Universe, absolutely. But again, be careful and not be led to the Pope, you know, and their false cookie Jesus, you know. I'm not, you know, Satan is very sneaky and he knows his stuff and all that. And again, we have the Jesuits working on every kind of side and so forth. So be careful. The last thing is a website, is Skiba, which is also one of the Christians talking about, is he called Mikhail or something like that? I think he has some videos exposing occultism. I think that's primary. I think he also wrote books or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you can find his name someplace. But he has this website called Skiba, where you also get some links to, you know, videos and so forth. The earth is not flat. This is not just my opinion, but it's a fact that has been proven for centuries, and not just by NASA. And you can read on those as well. Overall, you know, in regards of the earth being flat, I think it's a fallacy. I think it's a great fallacy. And I think we should stop, stop promoting falsehood. You know, it just doesn't help getting people believing in Christ and the Bible when people know it's not flat, and they're hearing these Christians. You know, it's every Christian that actually, in some sense, gets, because when someone hears, "Oh, the earth is flat," they just believe that every Christian believes the earth is flat and the Bible says it's flat and all that. You know, Satan is very, very sneaky. You know, oh, those Christians, oh, those are those crazy people saying the earth is flat. You know, yeah. So he has some information on that website as well, geofrisbee.com. Again, I think there's enough to disprove that Earth is not flat. It's round. And there's no reason to not believe that it's not round. So, and I think I've been pretty much gone along. I'm sorry it took so long, Rob. Maybe a lot of the things that I said that you can't use to anything or whatever, but I just wanted to make a rebuttal now that you had, wrote me. So I'm not sure if there was any more. I've probably written on more of your pages, but again, I kind of try to stay away from where I don't see that there's much truth. So I kind of stayed away from, I don't want to waste more time on this flat earth. Can't you see how much Christians are using on this topic, which is not really doing anything for us? It's just, dividing the flock even more, and yeah, and using our time. We only have this life, we should use the time for reading and studying the Bible, and not go into these crazy theories, that pretty much I think has been disproven. I don't know what to say, I don't know what to, and you're dragging so many people on this fallacy, yeah. So I haven't seen what you're actually doing at the moment. Now, again, I have tried to keep away, because I tried to keep away from a lot of flat earthers in some sense, because, again, you're getting dragged into it all the time. And I don't, it's just, it's enough, it's enough, we only have, well, we have, of course, oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. That's not smell into. But anyway, that was a little in regards of these. Undo. If I need the links, but of course I have the links on. So, well, so there's not much to say. I think there's probably more, but I think I've pretty much done. I made the debunking flat Earth by North and South. Again, showing by the programs. Again, you can download the programs yourself. You can see this north point and the south point. I think that would be enough to say, okay, it looks like the Earth is flat. No, sorry, the Earth is round. But instead, they want to find out weird theories to try to, get the data to say that, oh yeah, oh, give me a break, everything fits the round model. What is wrong with, when the data fits the round model and everything seems to fit it? Why do we need to say that the Earth is flat? Why do we need to promote the Earth is flat? Clearly, it's not flat. I don't see it. I don't see how it can be flat. Everything seems to agree that the Earth is round. You have the satellites in the sky, you have the GPS, you have the, the radio satellites, you have the light satellites, you see the flash up in the, you have the, where they fire rockets after another rocket, you can see the north point, the south point, you see the moon turning around from one angle to another angle in regard, give me a break, I'm just kidding. It's, I just don't. Yeah, I think I need to stop now. That's just, and my voice is just getting. I can't remember. There's probably many other things that I would disagree with. Well, you just takes people. Zachariah is a lot closer to the truth than these things. That's for sure. So, yeah, but anyway, that's pretty much it. Can't do much other, right? I just don't see it. And in regards, I just can't see it's flat. I've used so much time on this topic. I just don't see it. It's just wasting my time. That's the only thing I see. People need to read this book. Be careful of the letters of Paul, but read this book. That is the Torah is the foundation of this book. And Jesus is the center of this book. So, who is Jesus? Find out who Jesus is. The first thing I would do is find out who Jesus is and read the 4 books of the gospel. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. When you have read those 4, you pretty much you should have a better understanding than most people in the world who Jesus is, because there are many versions of Jesus out there, and you need to find out who Jesus really is. And when you find out who Jesus really said who he is, then you need to make your mind, do I want to think that he was right? Do I think he was truthfully, or do I think he was a liar and a deceiver and a wacko that just wanted to be stoned because he made himself equal to God, So that's the thing. The other versions of Jesus is just deceptive versions, from Satan, polluting the waters, That's the only thing they are. They're, if you can't trust the first version of Jesus, why should you trust any other version of Jesus that came afterwards? Doesn't make sense. So either the first version is correct or it's not, The honest thing would say, well, I don't believe that Jesus was who he said he was. But it's just dishonest to make up your own version of Jesus and saying, oh, this is, I want the ascended master Jesus, or the son Jesus, or the guru Jesus, or the, from India, or the mystic Jesus from Egypt, or the Druid version from England, or whatever version, the only prophet version of Jesus. And so forth and so forth, and you can have a whole list. And the thing is, you can go around and know all the versions, all the false versions of Jesus, and you wouldn't be closer to the truth. But if you know the one single version that is true, you can discount the rest, because you know the true version. You say, no, that's not Jesus, Oh, he's not the Son of God, and he wasn't executed. He wasn't raised from the grave. Oh, that's not the Jesus. No, that's not the Jesus of the Bible. I'm sorry. But of course, if I had one of these guys that are, in regards of Mohammedanism and going against it, if a Mohammedan comes and say, well, we also believe in Jesus, and he turned it around. Oh, so you also believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and believe he was executed, and believe he was raised from the grave. Oh, great, But of course they don't believe that. And that's the thing. So when a Mohammedan comes and say that they believe in Jesus, they believe in a false version. That is only a prophet. He has some of the titles, but they only believe he's a prophet. A prophet, not God's son. God can't have a son. And that's the thing. The God of the Bible is singular plural. And the God that the Mohammedans are following is absolute singular. So even if we didn't have the different names, of course, Allah is the name of their God, and Jehovah is the name of the biblical God. But even if we didn't have the names, we can just see on the, that one God has a son and another God doesn't have the son. If one man have a son and another man doesn't have a son, it's not the same man we are talking about, right? It's not the same God. So that's why we Christians shouldn't eat meat slaughtered to Satan, slaughtered to Allah, because it's slaughtered to a false god, as I see it anyway. I know there's different opinions on this, but I think we should, the council in Jerusalem, according to the book of Acts, says that we shouldn't eat meat sacrificed to false gods. And actually we have some, but that's outside sources. But of course, if we go to Paulus, he says both things. One place he says he doesn't want us to, another place he says, it's no problem. Just go down to the meat market and just don't ask about it. Just buy it, and for conscience sake. And if someone invites you, for example, Mohammedans invites you to eat with them, well, no problem. Just go with them, right? But if someone says this is meat slaughtered to a false god, don't eat it. Not because of your own sake, but because of theirs, because we have this understanding. There's just slippery lies, I think it's deceptive. We shouldn't eat anything that is slaughtered to a false god. That is the council. The council doesn't say, hey, if you don't know, it's okay. They say you shouldn't eat meat sacrificed to false gods because you shouldn't defile yourself. And, yeah. So the question is, well, who are we going to go by? Are we going to eat, a false cookie Jesus? Or are we going to eat the meat sacrificed to Allah? No. Why would you, that's... I think we're defining ourselves. This pagan ceremony and, what do you call it? Sacrificing it to Satan. It's to me, it's something that we Christians should go around, and sadly, in Denmark, it began in the 1970s that they began to slaughter the meat to Allah, and they come with all these excuses. Hey, there's no difference in regards to the meat and all that. No excuse, no difference. What are you talking about? You slaughtered this to Satan. It's defiled food now, you know. Christians shouldn't eat it. But of course, then they will come up, well, we actually get more pointers from Mohammedans than Christians in regards of being halal or not. Well, maybe it's because you never told the Danish people that you began to slaughter the meat to Satan and selling the meat to them. How disgusting. Why, I think it's just absolutely criminal. So that's so if we're not going with the Eucharist thing, the hostess thing, the false Jesus cookie, then of course Satan comes with Mohammedanism, defiling yourself. And some of the sources we have is talking about defiling ourselves in regards of demons as well. Again, we still don't have that much in the New Testament to go by. We have some things here and there, also in the Old Testament. We have the 3 sayings in regard to the book of Acts, where these Gentiles are given 4 commandments according to the book of Acts. Of course, the book of Moses have been read from, time past, and is read every single Sabbath, right? So it seems like it is expected that the Gentiles will actually listen to these things every single Sabbath, but these 4 commandments are necessary commandments, like sexual immorality, no go. In regards to eating meat sacrificed to false gods, no go. Drinking blood or eating blood, no go. And don't eat anything that has been strangled, because of course the blood is still in it if you have a strangled animal. And it's said 4 times, and it's said with some variance in regards of the commandment of not eating anything to false gods, that it's defiling us. And if you go to Jesus in Revelation, he rebukes 2 of the congregations for this doctrine as well. Of course, if you go to Paul, you can find that it's okay, it doesn't matter and all that. But are we going with Jesus, or are we going with Paul that never walked with Jesus and so forth? So that's just my concern. And we have some outside sources. For example, let me see if I can find it. This is in regards of the first, rule book for Christians. And it seems like it's more like a Jewish rule book. So it may actually be coming from, the Didache. It may actually coming from a Jewish congregation in some sense. At least there are some things that seems really Jewish in it. And so it could be, and there could be added some things and whatever and all that. It's an outside source, so we have to be careful. But it talks about meat sacrificed to false gods. Now let's see what it says. Regarding eating, do the best you can. That would probably be in regards of unclean animals and clean animals. We're still in the West eating pigs. Why are we eating pigs? Christians, why are you eating pigs? Abomination. Why are we eating pigs and shellfish and octopus and whatever? It's said to be unclean. No, but anyway, I understand that. Do the best you can. We should do the best we can. But in our days, it shouldn't be impossible to not eat pig, not eat shellfish, not eat octopus and so forth. It shouldn't be that hard. At least not in Denmark. Of course, it can be a little hard to, but of course, a lot of the meat is now halal slaughtered, so we have to check. And I'm still doing a lot of research on that, and I found some, I'm trying to find some foundation where I can get some meat that is not slaughtered to Satan. But they have all these excuses, the slaughterers anyway. Yet, by all means, I'm not sure if I can show it. Yet, by all means, abstain entirely from meat sacrificed to idols or false gods. For eating such is worshipping the gods of the dead. So, in regards of halal meat, it's slaughtered to a false god. This is just one source, the Didache, and it's said to be the first rule book. It is interesting reading some of it, but there's still some of it where I'm like, So, again, outside source, have to be careful, but still some good stuff. Another book, or actually 2 books, is the Recognition of Clement. And there's actually 2 books. The other one is called And one is recognition and the other is, I can't remember, but at least it has twice the explanation of why we should not eat meat sacrificed to false gods, and also things sacrificed to false gods. And of course, in regards of the Eucharist, that would probably, and of course, Christians were murdered because they didn't want to take the Eucharist. Maybe it was because Satan knew that he could defile the people if they took it. I don't know. But I wouldn't take part in it, that's for sure. And in regards of eating meat slaughtered to Satan, why would I ever buy such things, you know? That is, apparently we have sources inside the Bible and outside the Bible telling us that this is not a good thing to do. Now, sadly, I don't know where these, where the quotes are in the other book. I haven't, let's see, it's the Book of Recognition and there's another book. But again, there are some things that are interesting in regards of for example, an enemy in regards to the book. Some say it's coming from Ebonite sources. The Ebonites was a group that came out from the Nazarenes. The Ebonites didn't believe that Jesus was God in the flesh. They believed he was like a son of his father, Joseph, you know. There were some things they didn't believe in, but that doesn't mean they didn't have any truth, because they are coming from the Nazarenes. So if this is an Ebonite, manuscript based on the Ebonites, well, it could still have a lot of truth, and it seems to still have a lot of truth in it. And I'm not sure in regards to the Ebonite doctrine, because sometimes it actually seems like that it has the idea that Jesus actually is God. But he's the begotten God, and the other one is the unbegotten God, the Father. It has an explanation also in regards of an enemy, also in regards of explaining that Jesus said, also according to the book of Matthew, that the law wouldn't be abolished and all that. But again, one have to be careful, of course, but I still have to wonder where, you know, the Nazarenes used, as we know, the book of Matthew primarily. That was the book that they used. The Didache could maybe also have come from the Nazarenes. And again, you still have to be careful, but it still have, you know, what is actually inside it. Does it actually fit in regards to what Jesus is teaching and all that? And it's teaching the law, you know, the law is still valid. And why shouldn't the law be valid? Didn't Jesus say the law is you know? But it has, in regards of eating meat sacrificed to false gods, it's something that is, at least in the West, becoming more and more difficult to actually avoid because of the Mohammedans, because the Mohammedans are coming in, and apparently already the industry, you know, probably promoted by Satan in some way, began to sell defiled food to the Danish people, which still is just disgusting. They didn't even say, they didn't even tell the Danish people about it, and they still don't. You know, the chickens, most of the chickens are halal slaughtered now, or slaughtered to Satan, and it's very difficult to find any chicken anywhere that is not slaughtered to Satan. It still can be found. But it's few. It's very few. I think it's 99% or something like that of the chickens in Denmark that is slaughtered to Allah. Why are we slaughtering chickens to Allah when we're not Muslims? You know, it's just... Oh, Mohammedans, because Muslims, that's a bad word. That's actually, it's Mohammedans. The Danish word and the English word is Mohammedans. But in any case, why would we slaughter all our chickens? And not only all our chickens, a lot of the lamb is slaughtered. A lot of the cows are slaughtered to Allah. And it's like, well, then they can sell some of it, for example, to the Mohammedans, they say. And then they can sell the other things from the cow to the Danish people. But it has been slaughtered to Allah. And they just think, yeah, well, if we don't put a sticker on it, it's not slaughtered to Satan anymore. What are you talking about? They don't understand that, you know, they slaughter the animal to Satan. it just doesn't become unslaughtered to Satan after, just because they don't put a sticker on it. And because of money, they just mix it together with the things that are not halal slaughtered. So you see, it's just total corruption here in Denmark. We're just defiling ourselves. The Christians, because the Christians don't really have much backbone anymore in this country either. It's going the wrong direction. It's really going the wrong direction. And I think it's the same in regards of the America problem. It seems like you probably also have problems in regards of the slaughterhouses slaughtering to Satan. And when you ask them and all that, they just try to... They're not honest about it. So you need to go out and look for honest people and, talk. I found one butcher that is pretty... I still need to talk to him again, but I found, talk to different, selling, this is like Freeland, it's called Freeland, and they say they don't slaughter to Allah. So that's a great thing. So you have a foundation to go and buy of the people not slaughtering to Satan. Just disgusting that they began in 1970s, and so many things have gone down since the 1970s. 1973, murder was legalized on the weakest in our society here in Denmark, that we could abort the children. In 1973 was the first year that we corrupted the weekdays and making the 7th day into the 6th day and the first day into the 7th day. Which of course probably go back to Rome again, because it was in regards of joining what is nowadays called the EU, I think, the European Union. Which seems to also again go back to Rome, because Rome, of course, it's it's the Roman Empire that controls the things in our days, also according to prophecy, right? So that's the fourth beast, and it will be here until it get destroyed when Jesus returns. So it shouldn't be that big of a surprise, actually. But it's sad that the people have pretty much lost. They've forgotten the past, and where the reformers or the Protestants actually pointed to in regards of the Antichrist because of Scripture. And who didn't want us to read Scripture? Who killed people for having the Scriptures in their own language? Rome. Rome did so. And why may that be? Maybe because if the people read the Bible, they find out, this is actually talking about Rome. It's actually exposing the Antichrist. The two best books for exposing the Antichrist, I think, in the Bible is the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation. Those wonderful books exposing the man of sin. So, anyway, not much more. There's a lot of things going on in this country, and the people need to wake up. Now again, celebrating the new year in the winter. We're going back here. Yep, should probably end this, but it's also getting late, and yep, she stopped again. It's see camera on it. Woohoo! I'm still trying to find out how. It seems like it works pretty good, right? So, of course, we should, again, we should. But it's just sad to see where we are going, and we are just, the Roman theater, the Roman circus, the Roman arena. People are just glued to the television, looking at all these, things that doesn't matter. Football, ice hockey, whatever, soccer, whatever, everything, all these things, boxing, whatever, just waste of time. We have this life, let's use it for Christ, right? And people are just, or looking at stupid movies and drama and, things that have no worth and value, and we forget to read the books about what happened actually at the Reformation. what was going on. And by the way, in regards to the Reformation, someone is hiding Andreas Bodenstein von Karlstadt, which is called a radical and whatever, and been slandered by the Lutherans, and but not to say that Luther didn't have things correct, but he also, it's just, I don't know what happened to Luther when he got back, but it seems like, oh boy, he's worse than Paul, It's just going from one way to another way and getting, 100,000 peasants killed as well, and by, the rioting and hating the Anabaptists. The Anabaptists was the closest one following Christ. So, and they came about in regards of the Reformation, in regards of Andreas Bodenstein von Karlstadt, who, was called the radical, and Zwingli, of course. The Zwinglings, the students of Zwingli, didn't think that Zwingli took it far enough, because Zwingli told them, well, this is what is in the Bible, but let's wait for the government to make a decision on it. And they were like, why would we need the government to make a decision that that we know is wrong? And we know that the doctrine is wrong. Let's just stop doing it. Why wait for government, like the world, to decide? Because the world wants to decide a lot of things about us, right? It wants to rule us. Yeah. But of course, Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. So we await him returning, and yeah, but of course we become citizens of the kingdom, right? And we should go in that direction. Anyway, may Jehovah be with you all, and may Jesus Christ the Son be you, what do you call it? Oh, what is the English word? Be by you appreciated, I think is a pretty good word. And the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, in us all. Amen. So, I'm going to stop here. Thank you for listening, if you listened all through. So, we have a lot of things that are false. We have a lot of things that is... We really need to read the Bible and begin to go in the right direction. So, bye-bye, all of you. I can find the stop mode. Oh, just a little one before leaving the whole thing. This was a reply to one on YouTube, and I just wanted to finish with it, round it all up. I wrote to this person, I've already used huge amount of time on this. My conclusion is that it is more satanic deception to discredit the truth, as most people know the earth is round. And the focus is taking away from creation to flat earth debates and obstructing Christians who defend creationism, and by outsiders get mixed into this group and made a mocking. And thereby getting it from both sides, as it is also wasting so much of their time, because people want to force this flat earth on them, and if you don't believe it, you get the same results from people mocking you because you don't believe the earth is flat. You have satellites in the air called iridium, which makes flashes which you can see for yourself. You have multiple nearly daily rocket launches you can see live. You have the stars going around the 2 points north and south. You have buildings shortening as you go further away from them, and other tests done on this, like using a helicopter. Multiple videos out there showing the curve from real life world. You have the radio satellites you can pick up as well. You have the ISS you can see, and so much more. I think this is the International Space Station, the ISS. You have the fly routes that works perfectly according to the round earth. Everything works to point to a globe and not a flat earth. And I'm tired of people saying that scripture says so when it does not. And the Jews understand that they understood it as round when people in the Western world thought it was flat. And on and on. No, It's a deception and most likely promoted by the Jesuits. At least it would not surprise me if they did promote it to make havoc as they usually do. And of course you have daily live video from ISS as well, which can be seen besides the people working on the space station and video from them. And the Rakia in Hebrew, which is the Shemayim in Hebrew, the heavens is not a physical thing. The birds fly in the faces of the heavens, which is the Rakia, as to say they fly in the beginning of the heavens, as to infer where there is more space beyond the place they fly, like we walk on the faces of the earth, but there are more underneath it. This was one of my... You see, I have a lot in regards of replies to people here and there, and just, it's getting old. It's getting really old. It's just getting really, 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 really old. I see here's another I wrote at some point. I see this is in regards of something I've quoted. Tycho Brahe was a Danish astronomer and nobleman. He was the most famous astronomer of his day. He believed in the idea of geocentric universe, a universe with Earth as its center. This is in opposition to the Copernicus belief in the universe with the sun at its center. And let's see what I'm writing. I must say it is quite intriguing to study these things. Onion-like clusters of stars around Earth, the so-called axis of evil for the Big Bangers, seemingly centering in on Earth, the overall fine-tuning of the universe for life on Earth, and the redshift phenomenon actually having the ability to point out we might be in the center of it all, and so many other things. But overall there is a lot I don't understand, and much I would have no clue to verify or not. And no, the Earth is not flat, but it might be more important and designed than pagan evolutionists and Satanist Big Bangers and believing multiverse creationist want it to be like, as a crazinist, craziness, wanted to be like in a special place, and who knows, maybe in the center of it all. I don't know. But there's a lot to research, of course, but in regards of the Earth being flat, Yeah. Here are 4 Christians not biting into the flat Earth delusion: Kent Hovind, Zachariah Bauer, Stephen L. Anderson, and Charles Lawson. I'm not sure who Charles Lawson actually is. But Zachariah Bauer, of course, we know. Kent is, the guy that I wrote this. Kent Hovind, we absolutely know. Making his material free was the best thing that he could do, Thumbs up, Kent Hovind, Making in regards of creationism, free and available for everybody was just the best thing he could have done. And I think a very Christian thing as well. Stephen L. Anderson, I think Stephen Anderson, he has some, sometimes he just goes on a rail, but he didn't jump the wagon on flat Earth, that's for sure, and, thumbs up for that. Charles Lawson, I'm not sure who that is, Charles Lawson. But anyway, it's just, I don't know, it seems like people just began, so-called shepherds out there that should, feed the flock with good food, just began to go, oh, that's the guy with, okay, as an older guy, an older teacher, It's like, I'm listening to different teachers and preachers and so forth, and, we all have some good, the Jehovah's Witnesses have some good things, you can't discount everything, even if they don't believe Jesus is God in the flesh, or God, or, they still have the name of God, Jehovah, and they have a lot of information on that. You have the 7 Adventists, they still do a lot of good things in regards of exposing the Antichrist and this system. And they actually have, that's seemingly, if we take the Protestant groups, it seems to be nearly one of the last bastions in regards of exposing this. But of course, things are coming forward. So, but a lot of Christians have just, folded in some sense. But, you know, you have Baptists, you have different kinds of Christians out there, you know, different, that all of them have some goodies. You cannot just throw away just because they have some falsehood, you know. You can't throw everything away, you know, that's, yeah. Well, maybe you can throw out the Mormons. I don't actually know if what they have of truth, but they have a lot of fallacies, that's for sure. So be careful of the Mormons. But I think it's the easiest to actually expose. The hardest would be the hardest getting some issues with is actually the Seventh Adventists, which have some of their own doctrines, which is like, you know, but they have a lot of good stuff. But then they mix it with this, and Ellen G. White and all that. The Jehovah's Witnesses usually come with their, you know, what is it called? I can't even remember what it's called, but they want you to read that instead of just reading the Bible, you know. I have these, let's see, I have bought standard Danish New Testament versions that I give out if someone wants it. And you know, not affiliated with anyone in regards to just, you know, Bible, read the New Testament, be careful of Paul. I tend to always warn people in regards to Paul, because Paul leads people into lawlessness. You just, you know, and they actually become some vicious wolves in some sense. If you go on like Pale Talk, or what it's called, I can't remember, but go in one of these Christian places and begin talking about the feast of God, you know, you the whole room, but just, you know, it just becomes fire, you know. They are ready to burn you at the stake. Why would any Christian be ready to burn you at the stake for actually telling about feast days, which is found in the Bible? And you know, telling them that actually Christmas and Christ Mass and Easter and Halloween and all those other things are pagan origin, and just, I don't understand it. You know, if we have the spirit of truth, we should follow truth, right? So if we hear the truth, we should follow after it, right? So I don't know. It's and if you keep the law, you know, if you try to keep the law, you have now lost salvation. What are you talking about? So let's see. We know God hates sin, and that sin is transgression of the law of God. And you tell me that, you know, trying to keep his laws and sin less, because we know God hates sin. So if he hates sin, he probably loves us actually doing his commandments, right? So to show that we love God, we should keep his commandments. And you're telling me I'm then losing salvation for trying to keep those? Doesn't make sense. Absolutely doesn't make. But it's okay to defend pagan feast days, and you don't lose salvation by keeping and defending pagan feast days. But it's just not reasonable. You know, just absolutely not reasonable. I don't know. It's just, but of course we could see in regards of the Protestant reformers, you know, Luther and I think Melanchthon also, and there's the other guy and all that, where they are actually persecuting the Anabaptists, and the Anabaptists just wanted to go and do what Jesus said to do. The Anabaptists thought that we should probably do what Jesus says, then you know, hear and do, right? And, you know, why would anyone persecute them? Well, maybe because in regards of, you know, if we do what Jesus wants us to do and trying to keep the law and the faith in Jesus Christ, well, persecution will come automatically. But why would any Christian persecute another Christian just because they are, you know, more radical? Jesus was radical. You know, he kept the law to perfection. And as Jesus said, you know, a disciple should become as his master. Well, if our master and God kept the law to perfection, shouldn't we try to strive for doing the same thing? I know we are not perfect. It's, you know, Jesus that is, you know, what we miss is where Jesus fills us up in regards of these things. But why would it be wrong to not do things and get closer to the truth? And that the thing is, the more mosquitoes we can smack, the better, you know. If we can smack the Sunday thing out, you know, we stand on truth. If we can smack Christmas, Easter, and Halloween, and all these pagan things, you know, we are a lot closer to truth. And thereby, being closer to truth, Satan has a lot harder in regards of deceiving us. Because now we know the truth. Now we are doing something. Now we are going by it. And, you know, he can come up and, you know, the thing is, if you throw out the feast days of God, and of course people use Paul for that. People also use Paul in regards of defending Sunday. Paul is used for many things in regards of lawlessness. But in regards of not keeping the feast days, they will say, well, Paul says it doesn't matter, you know. One day is, you know, one keeps one day for God and another keeps another day for God. Well, what does God say? What did God say to the Israelites? To those people taken out of Egypt? What did God write with his finger in stone? Which day did God rest and bless and sanctify and set apart from the rest of the days? It was not Sunday. It was the Sabbath, the seventh day. And Saturday is a lot closer, even if you use the Roman timeline, Saturday is a lot closer than Sunday. Of course, the days start at sunset, as I understand it, from sunset to sunset. So actually, the Sabbath start at Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, if you want to be. But at least, you know, dragging the robe away from Satan. At least let us make some resistance in regards to this. Use the word of truth and scripture alone, right? Well, at least that's yeah. So at least have it as foundation. The more we know our Bible, the better, you know, the less chance Satan is going to deceive us. That's how I see it, you know. That's seemingly how it, you know, all these, you know, the movies in regards of so-called Christian movies where they are just going astray from what is actually in the Bible. But how would you know if you didn't know the Bible, what is written? So the best source to get and find out what is actually biblical is to read the Bible. There's no way around it. And it's just, you know, how much time do we use on our Bible compared to how many hours do you use on computer, you know, the computer games, or watching sports or whatever, you know, all these whatever series of, you know, pagan series. You know, the world is just taking one step at a, you know, one step more into abomination. You know, it's just sad to see. Anyway, so this is the end. So that was all. I'm not sure what Rob have in store for different things. It's just I don't really want to look, you know. I don't really want to yeah. I don't know what you have in store. I don't know what. Yeah. Anyway, so just be careful, right? Just be careful. We need to follow truth. We have so many lies and so many deceptions. We need to follow truth. Just we stop celebrating Christmas. Stop celebrating Easter. Stop celebrating Halloween. Stop going to the Sunday thing. Find at least, you know, Saturday is the blessed day. That is the day we should have holy, where we don't buy anything, we don't sell anything, we rest on the seventh day. And the whole world, Satan has made it so the whole world are doing, you know, all the things, all the funny things on Saturday. But we're told, well, this is the blessed day, you know. It's the day where people go out and drink and have fun and whore and so forth and see stupid television that is, you know, wasting the seventh day, you know, going out working, whatever, you know, selling, buying, you know, shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And if we Christians stop buying on Saturday and kept this, you know, the sellers may, you know, it depends on how many we are, but if we are a lot, they might even close down. And if we have Christian shopkeepers as well that began to follow these things, you know, the government shouldn't what do you call it? We see Daniel, when the government put forward that you are only allowed to pray to the king. What did Daniel do? It's like, what? No way. I'm going to pray to my God as I, have done as usually, So he went to pray to his God. And then he was cast into the lion den, and God saved him from that. It's not always good when the government does something. When it breaks the law of God, we should, don't care. I'm not sure in regards to Denmark if they actually force people to keep open on Saturday. But then the shopkeepers should say, well, I don't care. I don't care. I'm keeping closed on Saturday because the Bible says so. And the Bible is my authority. Right? It's not the government. It's the Bible. What does God say? You are in the wrong, in regards to the state. If you want me to open up on a Sabbath, you are in the wrong, not me. God says this, and we are closed. Right? So anyway, closing the gates, stop selling, get away, we have 6 days to buy and sell and all that. Why would, couldn't we have one day that we don't do these things? I think we can, and I think we should. And and in regards to the 10 commandments, so the 4th commandment is not, it's not worth anything anymore. Just take the 9 commandments, and the 10 commandments written in stone is just, it's not for us anymore. So why would we, following the Sunday is from Rome. It's that mark that they so-called have the authority to change the laws of God. Of course they haven't. They don't have the authority. And the question is, are we going to follow the Pope, or are we going to follow Jesus? That is the main question. And this it seems like, for example, in regards to the Mohammedans now coming into Europe, it seems like the Catholics are using it to, hey, we should keep our traditions, so-called traditions, so people will flock to their church, in regards of Christianity. And we already see these three big ones going back, the Lutherans, I think it was the Methodists, and there was one more group that I can't remember, where they begin to friend the Pope, so-called Pope, the Antichrist. Why would I ever follow after Antichrist, I don't believe that cookie becomes the literal body of Christ, and I don't believe we should worship it or venerate it or whatever, eating God, whatever. No, I think it's abomination. I think it's idolatry. So, I am now, by Catholic law, what is it called? Anathemized or something like that. Accursed. Yeah, that's, what did James say? In regards to the brother of Jesus, it shouldn't come, what do you call it, salt water and fresh water out of the same mouth. How can we curse anyone, Shouldn't curse anyone. One thing is to rebuke people, another thing is to curse them. Why would we curse anyone? Why would we want to curse someone that is made in the image of God? Of course we should not do that. But we can rebuke them. And we are all sinners. We all, the only one that was perfect was Jesus Christ. The perfect, spotless, sinless Lamb of God. He's our master. But a disciple should become as his master, right? And was it like, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect? And I still have a lot to learn and all that. Far from being perfect. But shouldn't that be the goal? If we just throw the goal, over our shoulder and the law over our shoulder, we'll never get there, right? So we have to start at one point, right? And we have to, we try. We're not, many of us have been raised with paganism, Christmas, Easter, Halloween, all these things, Sunday law and all that. We haven't been raised by the truth that we have in the Bible. it takes some time to turn around and to understand and, research and all that, but we can do it. And it just take one step at a time to get closer to the truth. And the closer we get to the truth, the less likely it is that we are getting deceived by Satan's deceptions and lies. Like, for example, why would any Christian believe in evolution? Evolution is a pagan lie. Why don't we take the Bible as is, Why would we go into these why would we try to conform the Bible to paganism? That's just not right. Now, we may have an difference in regards to the years, but we are talking about 6,000 years, around 6,000 years. If it's 7,500 or 5,500 or whatever, or, it's around 6,000 years. It's never millions or billions of years. Never in the Bible. And we have a worldwide flood that destroyed all mankind. It's not a local flood or anything like that. And we have a living true God that created everything in 6 days. It's like it was evening, it was morning, it was evening, it was morning, it was evening, it was morning. How literal can it be? How can make a child read it and they will understand. It's and become like children. Didn't Jesus say that? Become like children. Amen. So, oh yeah, I have this T-shirt. Just want to show it just before. This was a T-shirt I walked around in regards of that when I was in Israel. Wonderful T-shirt. Jesus is God Almighty Jehovah. Seems like this. But anyway, I need to make some more. This was a prototype. We're trying to make some fringes and all that. And of course the Jews didn't like I was walking around with the name of God. And I was rebuked a lot of times. But then you just go to Ruth 2:4, right? Because they will use, the Jews will say, it's only the high priest that should use the name of God and all that. Then you just go to Ruth 2:4, and the name of God is twice in there, and just, tell them. Oh well. I had one Jew that just crumbled when I said it. It just crumbled first time, and then the second time, and then he was off with his mate, just crumbling. Just said the name, and it was just crumbling. Oh my. So, yeah. But if you take the T-shirt on, if you make a T-shirt like that, Jesus is God Almighty Jehovah, just expect persecution. And it's not only by, it's actually mostly, I got most heat from the Christians. Funny enough, right? But apparently there's a lot of Christians that don't believe Jesus is God, so they get offended by it. And they also get offended by, that the Jews might get offended. It's just, so you get into some heat, but of course, but you're witnessing. You have the T-shirt on. You're witnessing to everybody around you. It's yeah. It may not be. You may be a little persecuted in some sense, but it's a witness tool. Absolutely. Also in Denmark and all that. Sadly, I only have one T-shirt. I would like to make all my T-shirts into those things. I've seen other Christians also having T-shirts, good but I looked for the thing that is the most offending thing in regards of the truth, and this seems to be the most offending thing to most people. Jesus Christ is Jehovah. That Jesus Christ, or Jesus is God Almighty Jehovah. Jesus is God Almighty Jehovah. That seems to be the most offending thing. Oh, sorry about that. Some gas, in regards of what I'm eating, but better out than in, as I say. So, but it really, that's the thing that really offends a lot of people. The question also in regards of the Catholics, and this is something I need to, but it seems like Satan is really good at hiding things. The Jews have a lot of issues in regards of Kabbalah and Zohar and, Jewish mysticism. Because they left the truth, they left Jesus, so they went into a lot of falsehood. But of course, everybody is in falsehood. Most of the world, you have 1.8 billion Mohammedans. You have the Hindus, you have the Buddhists, you have the Catholics, you have so most people are in darkness. In one way, you have the New Ages. You have all these satanic things, which is just Satanism. Even if you don't believe it's Satanism, it's Satanism. You don't need to be a Satanist to actually be a Satanist. So when I was in the occult, I was a Satanist. I didn't see myself as a Satanist, but I was a Satanist. I was following Satan. I was promoting his doctrines. And yeah, so any case, that's a little windy, and they smell. But anyway, anything else? But of course, there's no one around, so it's of course, in regards, you don't even need to read the Bible in some sense. If you can't read, you can listen to it. There's a lot of ways of listening to it. You can just put something in your ear. Just be careful of the traffic if you're actually going outside in the traffic. But you can listen to things. Just stop doing all the other things. There's a lot to research. A lot of falsehoods going on. It's just stop doing that and just research some real things. Also in regards of health. Now that we have lost our women, bailing the kitchen, we have lost a lot of nourishing things, and thereby we're getting sick. So, and yeah, and it made a lot of issues for us, feminism is just satanic, It's rebellion. It's women with murder in their hearts. According to the Danish website on feminism, they wanted to have free sex. And because they wanted free sex, they of course wanted to murder the children. Because if you get pregnant, let's just murder the child. Because, it wasn't their fault apparently that they went out whoring, right? So anyway, and they wanted to change the family values. They didn't like the patriarchal, I can't even say it, but patriarchal system, where the man is the husband that leads the family and defend the family against Satan, and the woman supporting him. No, we don't want that. We want to go our own way. Really good. No, not really good. That was more ironic. It was really bad. So the women went out, and that just makes more issues. Because, men can marry down, but women have a problem marrying down. You get a lot of issues. So, and women become more men, and men become more women, and Satan really does his great work. And then of course you have murders on children. So that was in the 1970s, and we also legalized porn in Denmark in 1967. I think it was legalization of book porn. Wow. And then in 1969, we legalized video porn. I'm so disgusted by, I'm so disgusted that how could we ever do such things, we just fall in one and actually it seems like child porn was also accepted and was then legalized. I think there's something about the US was angry at Denmark because they were getting child porn from Denmark. I've heard or read something about that. So that was, but in any case, insanity of legalizing porn. We have porn everywhere. It's filthy. It destroys so much, So we have the women rebelling, and then we have women, going out working and all that, and finding out that they actually, they're finding out when they're getting older and actually getting to the point where it's too late. And they found out, I actually wanted a family. Too late. It's very sad. Then it's too late. They're maybe getting 40. They wanted a family. They took the career. They sought the career, getting money, getting stability, getting this and that, Just whoring around here and there, never finding a husband to marry. or the other way around, the man actually marrying the wife, taking her to be his helper. And but no, you didn't want to be a helper. You just went for the money and the education, and used, think about it. You need an education. Taking a higher education takes time, so you're getting older and getting older, and the best years of the women youth is around 21, as I understand it. And you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and then you're getting too old, and the men don't want you because they want a young woman. They want someone that can have children for a lot of years. And if you're 40, you might not be able to get many children by that. And also in regards of the chance of getting, I don't really like, but chance, there's more difficulty in regards to having children later than when you're youthful and all that. And it's also harder to get pregnant as well. So you have complications in regards to the child getting older, being in an older body, and you also have harder time to actually getting pregnant. So, so it's just Satan has just turned things upside down. Women need to get back to the kitchen. You need to make some nourishing food. You need to learn all the things that our grandmothers knew. Grandmother maybe going back, because it has been, we lost the law of our ancestors. I think it's called law, right? Law, Lore, the law of our ancestors in regards of making nourishing food. And people are succumbing to it like I was, and I am. Because I didn't get real food, because the food we buy in the stores and all that, just fake foods, many of it, just and poisonous things and this and that. And now we also have, we have food slaughtered to Satan as well. We have a lot of dangers out there. How many are making bone broth? Oh, bone broth takes too long. Well, why do you think the women stayed at home, making bone broth? Getting out there and getting some real, buying some real food, making things from the bottom up, instead of just buying things. And now because children or parents, both of them are out working, well, they don't have, they're exhausted when they come home. And that could also be in regards of not getting, good nutrition. And then, of course, what are they going to do? Are they going to make any food? No. They're just going to go down and buy some easily made of food that is not very nutritious. And if you do that long enough, you miss out of the nutrition, and you begin to get sick, and your family gets sick. Women, you are made to, make your family healthy, and including yourself. You when you flipped or bailed the ship, the kitchen, you pretty much, ran away from good health. And now a lot of women have problems in regards of health, and the families, the men, and the children. We all are getting issues in regards of it. It's just so sad. So anyway, have to find a woman at some point. It would be nice to find a helper that helps instead of actually just being an obstruction, because it seems a lot of women these days are obstructions for their men. And the thing is, if the man needs to always, have his focus on the woman being rebellious or whatever, and not really helping him, he has less time actually focusing on the things. So in regards of a woman, I absolutely need a woman that actually wants to be a helper if I'm going to have a woman. I just need one good woman because I can, I don't want to be, obstructed from the things, in regards of, I want to lead my family in the Bible and the children in the Bible and doing all these, and, I need a helper for that. But, if you just get someone that is obstructive and so forth and don't want to follow after you and so forth, it's like a dance. The man has a way of leading and the woman follows after, right? It's not the other way around. It's the man leading. And we may have some issues in regards of manly stuff in regards of these days because of all the feminization of the male gender. But, we still have, if we restore how things are, it's the best thing for both the man and the woman. It doesn't work like the woman being men and the men being women. It just doesn't. It's just turning things upside down. It's perfect for Satan, right? Oh, turning things upside down. And the man, being in pain in regards of marriage and all that, and divorce and all that, is just, woman should be able to cook and be able to follow after. There's no reason for a man to get married if he's not going to get a helper to help him. That just is an instruction and make his life into, in some sense, a hell. I'm not sure that's the correct word to use, but it's, and nagging him all day long and this and that, and oh boy. Anyway, I should stop now, and I should get into the other system and see if I can fix them together, and I'll put it up. And I'm sorry it became so long. For example, like Zachariah and his wife, just I saw some of it, in regards to Zachariah's wife. It just looks adorable, That's like a kind of wife, a modest wife that, don't say too much. That's a good Christian wife that wants to follow in regards of Passover and 7 days unleavened bread, and in regards of wanting to cook and clean, and if you say to a woman in regards of the kitchen and all that, you better be prepared in Denmark at least, you really better, you're going to get some heat, that's for sure. But I absolutely believe, just see on the kitchen, it's just made for women, like, usually women are shorter than men, and the kitchen table is just made shorter, just perfect for women, and it's been like that for thousands of years, and the women are those that actually get children, so they are going to be pregnant 9 months. So, and if you want to have like 15 children or something like that, or at least the possibility of it, the woman needs to stay at home and cook, clean, fill the fridge and clean the clothing, make it easier for the man to be able to defend against Satan's lies and deceptions. If you support your man, he can become strong, but also a woman can do the opposite. She can make him very weak, very, 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 very weak. So a weak man can become strong if he has a good woman supporting him, and a strong man can become weak if he has a bad woman not supporting him. So anyway, I got off topic, sorry about that. I going to see if I can get on the computer and fix it together and put it on Facebook and upload it, and yep, that's pretty much it. Any questions, you could just put downwards, and yeah, but overall, read the Bible, that's the best thing. Read the Bible for yourself, just sit there on the Sabbath, whatever, relax, sit back, read the Bible. That's wonderful. Or get the video on John that I put forward. It's wonderful as well, really wonderful. The visual Bible of John. There's a short version and a long version. I would take the long version. That's the whole book. So yeah, the visual Bible John. Yup. Yes, what is it today? It's Monday, so it's pretty much the second day of the week. It's not outside. Let's see. No, what is it? Maybe it's the third day. See, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It may actually be the third day. Actually, I'm not sure in regard to the biblical. That's why I made the things over there where you have the night and the day and the night and the day to try to find out in regards of when Jesus was actually executed. And as the best to my ability, it seems like he was executed on a Wednesday. In regards to the Roman calendar, he was, and he was 3 days and 3 nights in the grave, and the grave was found empty on Sunday, the first day of the week, which actually, at least in some translations, you have 3 places where it says it's the first day. But I can't remember if it's actually, but in the Danish version they have it 3 places, if I remember correctly. Or was it the English? I can't remember. But anyway, it's there in 3 of the Gospels. I've seen the translations where they use in the first day. Well, which is, you have to question, which is the first day if we have Monday as the first day of the week? So that's just more corruption, just Satan really likes to corrupt the things. And that's the thing. Slam the mosquitoes. We don't like the mosquitoes. They're flying around and annoying us. And we need to smash them and get closer to the truth. Because, again, it's harder for Satan to deceive us when we know the truth. Satan and his fallen angels and demons. But anyway. Have a good one, all of you. Have a good week. I think it's in Hebrew, Shavua Tov. Have a good week. Bye-bye. Shalom.